a sleigh ride together with you. Outside the snow is falling and friends are calling you. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Come on! The sleigh ride together with you. I'm together with you. I'm together with you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Paddling Pool 348. On the mic is T to my left, and I'm Sig Dakari. T, how are you doing today?
I am Chill Sig, and I'm just waiting to get into this first set here right now. We have Messi 5 and Vivian and Kiver versus Insecure Connection. That's a real mouthful of a name.
Yeah, something tells me that I'm not going to be calling that entire team name the whole time. I'm not sure what I'll be calling them, but it's not going to be Messi 5 and Vivian and Kipper because that's way too much. But starting things off here, just looking at these maps, I see a very peculiar one to open things up here on Tower Control on Urchin Underpass. Something that we really don't see outside of the North American League, and considering this is an EU tourney, I think this is the first time that we've actually seen this in Paddling Pool.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I saw Urchin Underpass and I immediately thought, oh, this is probably Splat Zones, but no, it is Tower Control Urchin Underpass. So definitely something, we haven't really seen a lot of outside of the league. So I know what weapons are they going to bring here. We see an edit on one side, edit on both sides, and a lot of these short range weapons wiper on both sides too. So it's going to be a classic Urchin game. Everyone's just going to want to
Oh.
scrap if we can get to the game. It seems that it's ended.
That first game of the tourney, there's always something that goes wrong, whether it's, wrong weapon or whatever, what have you. But going into this, I want to highlight a few players that I'm familiar with going into things here. Oh, they did pick zones. That would make a lot of sense. We are not playing zones here. But going into this with players, I'm noticing a couple of familiar faces here. Naoto, who's iCarly God, and Caffey on the side of Messi 5. And Insecure Connection, I'm seeing two Carbon players, but I don't think they're exactly going to be playing double Carbon. What are your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, double Carbon's probably not something we're going to see. Well, if anything, it'd be on Urchin, probably, but it's probably not something we're going to see here. But Carbon is a very fun weapon to see here, especially because it didn't look like they were bringing out the burst bomb Carbon that everyone's familiar with. It is indeed going to be that zip caster and autobomb combination. Something very unique, something that I feel like can only really work on Urchin Underpass with how many walls are on here, just the nature of this map.
Already opening things up, Insecure Connection find themselves a pick. They don't have a ton of map control to work with. With this cooler, they're trying to force their way through, already finding a few trades. And with that 2v1 advantage, even though the Neo Wiper, or the V Wiper, named Neo Wiper is jumping in, they're not able to find much more than a trade here to kind of stall things out. And Insecure Connection, they have to find a way through all of this defense through the just constant jumps in, but so far it's been looking okay for them.
Yeah, just in this first minute, you see a lot of players going down, coolers being popped on both sides. Those heavy edits are really putting in the work for both teams, just to make sure that their players are able to stay alive. And we can see here well, there's some ground being made on the side of yellow right now, with a wiper in the back line, trying to just draw attention away. Does it well enough, but that is going to be a big enough opening for yellow to take this lead and just try and get this checkpoint right now. It seems the bush is disabling a bit, but as I say that, they're just finding more and more picks, keeping their advantage up, and Messi 5 is looking to start this game off really strong.
Eek finding two there as Nasti is trying to get that hammer tossed, but the jump out is going to come out in time, and now this Wiper is going to have a lot of space to work with on the right-hand side, just waiting for the rest of the team to catch up and push that tower. They're finally able to get more than just 10 points on the board, and they could actually, with this rain and with a few other things like the Killer Whale and Tactical, they have a shot at getting the second checkpoint. There's the lead for them right now. The Carbon Roller Zipcaster is not going to find much, and neither will the flanking Wiper. An Insecure Connection has just so much space to work with. There's the entire checkpoint gone. But the Kraken does come out to kind of stall at the push and clear out the area around the tower. Eek, though, inside the splash wall, is looking for a swing onto that Carbon Roller. Not quite going to find anything just yet, but a little bit of chip damage. The Carbon, though, will find Eek, and that is a pretty solid push, but not a very long-lived one for Insecure Connection.
Yeah, both teams are definitely playing on very even footing right now. We see as Messi 5 is really getting their getting back in place, but I don't think they realized for a bit that Insecure Connection is still hanging out behind them, is going to stop them from really getting the points that they wanted right now. But everything's kind of going whack as there's a Kraken behind, and just the Ultra Stamp comes out of nowhere, taking out that Glamour Splatter Shot. And where is the tower right now? Just sitting right in mid, and nobody seemed to touch it for a minute. Just a lot of scrapping. That's kind of how this map works. And yeah, everyone's trying to find their footing, but there's just so much chaos going on at every single moment. You see Eek back up on the front lines trying to find some sort of pick, and it seems that their team does find one. So we're able to make some progress here, potentially.
With that hammer, maybe. It's just that Nasty's going to have to find a pick there. There's the trade. 2 players down on the side of Messi5, Vivian, and Huber. But Insecure Connections still have a few things to work out before they start pushing this tower again. First off, they have to stabilize, and with 2 players just diving on the heavy edit and sort of in mid with that Wiper that just popped the hammer and a disconnect, it's going to be pretty tough. Messi5, now with the constant player advantage, is definitely going to be able to turn things around here if they're able to find end. There's the pick onto the Octobrush. Eek is just way out of position. It's only Tenkai, the heavy edit, that's able to kind of stand here and do anything, as Eek is corralled back around the tower. They're able to find one, looking for that second. End jumps back in, finds Caffey, looks for the second one onto the Wiper. Eek is able to trade out onto the Carbon as well. It's just the Wiper left, and with the Whale coming through, the jumps are coming in as well, and they're all down. Insecure Connections so far have been doing a really solid job in this 3v4.
Yeah, I thought for a second there this was going to be curtains, but it looked like Insecure Connection really is not giving this up. They have the lead. They just need to make sure that their players stay alive, and for the past minute or so, they've really been doing a great job at that. Just the Octobrush out right now, but they can distract for a good while, and with that looks like a delayed wipe. Messi5 might just seal the game with this. The players on Insecure Connection, they're just coming out of spawn right now. A lead swap looking almost inevitable as he tries to defend the tower, and that is going to be the lead. And I don't want to say it's going to be the game, but it's looking a bit bleak right now with this 3v4. Very unfortunate disconnect on the side of Insecure Connection.
Yeah, you're going to need some kind of insane push, but you're not even able to get to the tower there with the Zipcaster from the Carbon Roller. And with the disconnect, they are able to find a last-second push on the side of Messi5, and eventually take that game. A little bit rough at the start, but I mean, with Urchin, it's very hard to kind of get scoring going. You kind of have to wait for one of those advantages, even if it is one of those disconnects.
Yeah, Insecure Connection kind of living up to the name there. Sorry to say, but that's going to be one for Messi5 right now. And, you know, I really wish that did not happen, because this looked like it was going to go to like the very last minute, just based off of these first couple minutes. Both teams really finding a lot of like strong fights for each other. There was that moment where Insecure Connection just had so much control behind Messi5, and Messi5 tried to push up. They tried to get their one push, but they just couldn't. They had 2 players behind them, and that really gave a great advantage for Insecure Connection. And then they had this moment that kind of just, it almost sealed the fate of the game, even though Insecure Connection had some really, really great plays afterwards. So I'm really excited to see what happens in this second game. If we have, you know, nothing crazy happen here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they just need to. I honestly hate saying it like this, and you kind of touched on it earlier, but they just need to not disconnect, because that was a really, really well played game from them. The neutral was really well done. They didn't overstep on their like advantage states either, just when pushing the tower. Really liked how they ended up playing that, and the 3v4 to kind of hold off all the Messi5 was also really solid. It's just those last 30 seconds can kind of bite you, especially when, you know, the team with 4 is like, oh yeah, we need to lock in here. You know, we can't be losing the game 4v3 and all that. But going on to Rainmaker, this is going to be another interesting map, because I don't really know what these players will be running outside of what's outside of the heavy edits, just because I was looking at the weapon pools on Sendu, and I'm like, there are carbon rollers here, but I'm not seeing any of them on the carbon roller team. You know, it's a toss up for just what they pick.
Yeah, but as you were saying, that heavy edit is kind of gimme on this map. It's for Rainmaker and for Humpback especially. It just does so much that it feels like, yeah, you kind of need it here. And I don't know what else we could really see. That glamour splatter shot, that's another very threatening weapon for Rainmaker. I'd expect to see that again.
Yeah, that's really good with the Kraken and everything, and really solid mobility and damage output too, just to kind of stall out Rainmaker, especially on elbow around that checkpoint. I don't really know. I mean, all of the sharking weapons are obviously going to be fantastic. We saw the brush, we saw the carbon, we saw the gal even. I think those can all make an appearance, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when we load in.
There wasn't any AoE in that last game, was there?
No, there wasn't.
Yeah, so that's definitely something to consider here. Maybe a slosher, maybe a blaster somewhere.
Oh,
because it's
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's Humpback Pump Track. Everyone loves their, being able to hit around those walls is just one of the most valuable things on this map. So I wouldn't expect like the teams to change up their whole flow over just like getting a weapon like that, but I'd expect like, maybe one slosher. That weapon's pretty good.
I'm just also curious to see what the wipers are going to do, because there's a machine. Okay, never mind. Then there's a 10-attack splatter shot. And there's the Kraken. Okay, there's no cooler on the side of Insecure Connection.
Yeah, it seems like Insecure Connection is actually switching up their entire flow, getting rid of that heavy edit and instead getting a Zinc Mini Splatling. Very short range comp, but that's kind of what this map favors, really. Almost as much as Urchin Underpass, we can see that Insecure Connection is just running in, taking over mid entirely, and trying to force these corners, try and find these small pits so that they can move the lane up quickly. The Zimmy already taking a lot of space, but it's going to be 3 down on the side of Insecure Connection. Messy 5 is just going to run it to start.
And there's the early check for Messy 5 already. Insecure Connection being punished just a little bit, not having the cooler to keep pace with the respawns and the fights of Messy 5. We saw the Octobrush to get picked off pretty early there, and now they're already behind, looking for one, found one. The Kraken's diving onto 2 players in front of the Rainmaker, but Cappy's just able to run it all the way to 37 points, and with that Octobrush still just living in the spawn, or not Octobrush, it was a Wiper, I think. With the Wiper just living in the spawn for quite a while, the cooler is up, and they're able to even push for 6 more points here before eventually getting picked off. And now with this big bubbler, Insecure Connection should be able to stabilize just a little bit more. I'm lying.
It looks like Messy 5 is just going to take this to the bank right now, as this heavy edit is kind of just bullying a lot of these players, root hopping constantly. They don't have a lot of weapons to really clear this edit in a good way, and that's just gonna be the game right there. Messy 5 taking it straight to the bank with this one push.
Wow, I mean, that's a completely different shift from what we saw in the first game. Just able to get that cooler up early, kind of take advantage of that and keep pace with everyone, even with the machine, which is a weapon that is known to kind of struggle into more mobile stuff, and just generally in this meta, they don't. If Insecure Connection don't run a cooler, they are kind of hurting themselves in that sort of sense. Even with the Wiper and the Octobrush, it's a tough matchup, but Messy 5 were able to execute off that really well. I like the flank from the left-hand side. I think that was the Wiper. Yeah, it was the Wiper that eventually got back there, and then running all the way down to 10 points and then even further for that KO is incredible stuff, honestly.
Yeah, this was Messy 5 blocking in. At the end of the last game, they had that moment where they kind of just got wiped in the 3v4. I think they realized this game, guys, we got to lock in hard. We can't have this happen again. And they really just saw the advantage that their comp had. Because Insecure Connection really did not have a lot of range to contest a lot of their weapons. And that comes especially into play with the heavy edit, because if you can get a heavy edit up onto that ramp just right after the checkpoint, it's very difficult for weapons like the Zinc Mini Splatling, the 52 Gal to clear without popping a special. And so they just stood there, kept on farming cooler, kept on popping Rainmaker, until there was a good enough advantage for Messi 5 to just run in for that final checkpoint and win the game.
Yeah, really, really solid work to Messi 5 there. Again, just cleaning up, locking in, like you said. They're going to move on to round 3 of the bracket, where they play Spooky Spinner, the another Splatling team. A lot of Splatlings on this side of the bracket. Now that I'm noticing that. But we'll be back with a different set with Distinctin after this quick break.
Kings will be the one here from Pixie Farmer, and they'll take it in. And Metro stop the on.
holiday season, and Santa Claus is coming round. The Christmas snow is white on the ground. When old Santa gets into town, he'll be coming down the chimney down. It's the holiday season, and Santa Claus has got a toy for every good girl and good little boy. Santa's a great big bundle of joy when he's coming down the chimney down.
Hello,
Hey.
everybody. Welcome back to Paddling Pool 48. My bad, bro.
Nah, that's very fine. We did not communicate that beforehand. But I'm T, joined here by Sig, and we're here for, I believe, winners round 3 of Paddling Pool number 348.
Yo, we've got Distinct versus Excalibur 8's comp. We've got the 8's comp here. A very well-known team versus players that I would assume are pretty well-known amongst the community. I think Tan recently gotten to +3. I think Comrade plays for Chunky Milk, if I recall. And then Tofu is a leader player. Proto just plays stuff, whatever. And they're playing against Distinct, who, I mean, if you don't know and you're watching Paddling Pool, welcome to Splatoon. They're the mid-level EU team. Pretty solid, but they have Skittles playing as their 4th today.
And, well, this is going to be an interesting matchup here coming into this set on Scorch Gorge Rainmaker. Both sides going to see a mini Splatling of 2 different varieties. One is going to play that, bubble roll. Already see one under this bridge, a very tiny bubble, just sharking out right now. But the other one is going to be firing off a lot of Zukas, getting those beacons up all around the map. So just going to see how that plays out in terms of just their supports.
Already, Comrade finding a very early pick onto Tiger there, and that's going to open things up a little bit for the Excalibur 8's comp, but not much is going to come from it as they do end up getting picked off. Rafa, though, does get traded out. Tiger's in a bit of a tough spot here as Tan is just looking for a little bit of fall off, just trying to force that roller to jump out, which they do so successfully. The Zuka comes through from Comrade, not quite going to find anything, but force several players to take cover and give Tan a lot of space to work with, already running onto Rafa. The Rainmaker does get picked off as Tiger's already in front of the shield. Tan is trying to defend, but not quite going to be successful, and Distinct are looking to just turn this around and maybe get a push going of their own here.
2 down on the side of Excalibur's comp, and it looks like Distinct is really setting up to get into this choke point. Just set up a bubble is... No, was there a bubble? I thought there was a bubble there for a second. It might have gone down instantly. But trying to get past this choke point, but the opportunity may be a bit late. This leader is just looking right now to find one pick. Something to defuse this push, and that is going to be the snipe on the rain that is going to seal this current situation. At least for a second. It looks like both teams are trading out right now, just trying to get anything going, really.
It's really difficult to kind of just move a leader off of one of those really tight angles. You have to use either bombs or a special, like the Tenon missiles or the Killer Whale, which just came out a touch too late for... neither of those are on Distinct. Never mind, you'd have to use the Strikes or the Zuka or the Whale to displace, in which case those didn't come out, and so the push kind of has to stall. But already, we're seeing the map kind of reset back into neutral here. Excalibur 8's comp is looking for just a little bit of a foothold, with Comrade trying to shark forwards on that right-hand side again, but not quite going to get anything. Actually gets whaled, and so can't really do the sneaking around that a Carbon generally wants to. Skittles almost finds a pick with that Zuka, not quite, and is just trying to pressure this left-hand side as the rest of the team pushes that right.
And this split attention from Skittles might just be enough to push that checkpoint. No, but it is going to be a trade of the minis, as Distinct is trying to find this opening right here. As Comrade gets one, it looks like Excalibur's is going to have their shot right now. Wasted bubble on the side of Distinct is going to cost quite a lot for this push, but it is going to look like Excalibur is really getting into this choke point now, finding enough picks to really move their players forward. And Tofu here on the Rainmaker is just firing off shots, looking for that perfect opportunity. As the bubble gets set up right above the checkpoint, it's looking like a slam dunk, and here we go. First check of the game, it's going to be on the side of Excalibur's, and this looks like it could be a lot of good points if this leader can find one pick right there. 2 picks?
There it is. They're looking for one more, maybe onto that mini on the top left. But no, Proto's just going to run the Rainmaker all the way down to 24 points before Tiger shuts down. Looking for just a little bit more, trying to rush forward, pressure the jumps, pressure that leader as well. Not quite going to find anything. Neither will Rafa on the Slosher. As Distinct do pick up the Rainmaker, and they're just going to have to look for just some sort of reset here. Try and maybe set up for another fight with that big bubbler and look for just a few picks to work with. But the missiles come through from Tan as the strikes go out. And now you're in a little bit of a tough spot with 50 seconds left. You don't really have any picks to work with. Rafa runs through, is able to find Tan, looks for just a little bit more. This Slosher has made so much space finding another pick, and there's 3 down. It's just the leader left. And Distinct, all of a sudden, with Tiger just pressuring that leader to Kraken, have a good amount of time here.
And you can see Tofu here with the Kraken just trying to find some method to really stall any time, because for a moment there, it was looking like Excalibur was really in the backseat. A lot of players went down trying to defend this first checkpoint to no avail. But that Kraken really did come in clutch, allow them to just take a bit of time to set back up again. But it looks like Tofu's going to be the only player up once again as the lead switches to Distinct in the very last check-in for a last-second KO. My goodness. Distinct just turning that game around in the last couple of seconds.
What a turnaround from Distinct. That was just unreal. I mean, even with how that last-minute push kind of went, I was kind of sitting here going, I don't think they'll be able to get this with the leader and the Kraken and just having to deal with Comrade on that carbon roller and the missiles and everything as well. It's a very difficult situation to sort of come back from, but they were able to kind of play for the time, get all of the specials and the picks that they wanted to kind of just push forwards. And after that happens, I mean, the game is blown wide open, and they're able to not only get the lead, but secure that KO as well. Just really, really impressive stuff from Distinct.
Yeah, you can see here that, well, we can see that right now, Excalibur really pushing up on their first push. They got a lot of points with that one. It looked not bleak, but it looked like it could be a very difficult situation for them to get back from. And Excalibur, they were really on the edge right here, because this push, in a different world, that would have just been where they got their lead. Instead, they played it patient a bit, and in the last 10 seconds, Distinct was able to push through. They were able to find their lead and just slam dunk it.
I mean, this is kind of the difficulty of also not running a cooler comp. You have to pick your spots very wisely and just kind of fight. Granted, there's no cooler on either side, is what I'm realizing now. But you have to be a lot more careful about when you fight. In which case, I mean, Excalibur 8's kind of just got a little bit too overeager. Now, going into tower control on Hagglefish, we're looking just to play a little bit slower. It looks like Excalibur 8's comp is going to just try and find a pick with Tofu's leader. Not quite going to just yet, as Proto does have a bubble set up in the tower path just in front to kind of get this early control here, tap the tower, get a little bit of special charge. The mini is 10 missiled, and so they're not really able to do all that much, but with Rafa jumping in, they're able to kind of force a collapse from the rest of Excalibur 8's and stall out the push for quite a bit here, enough for the strikes to flip things.
Yeah, it's been a very even opening right here. A lot of players going down, just trying to see any openings possible. Excalibur's 8 has sort of the mid advantage, but with the other team comp, it's very difficult for either side to really push through in a safe way. Like you said, it really is going to be Excalibur's looking for picks with that leader. This map, I feel like, is going to be a lot of the backlines figuring out, like, if they can get a really solid pick, especially on each other, but just in general, that's going to decide a lot of this match's pacing. As Hagglefish, it's going to be very difficult to break through some of this middle area without the right special, without the right pick, without a lot of these resources, as it looks like we're getting out of this first minute or so of just finding advantages, as Excalibur's 8 is really setting up this forward positioning right now.
And Tofu just not even on the tower, just trying to be as mobile as possible to find a pick with that charger laser. At least force as many players to take cover as possible. Doesn't quite find the one onto Mooj there, but has the Kraken at the ready, and the big bubbler is going to clear that first check and get all the way over to the second one for Excalibur 8's comp. Mooj is kind of in a tough spot as Tan here is able to just hold off two players of Distinct for not very long, but enough to get down to 33 points. And Comrade still has a very, very solid. Shark is found out, and now Distinct are just going to look to turn it around again. They have a couple of things to work with here. Close to that Kraken, they have the Trizuka, and they're close to the Tri-Strike. So this could be a pretty solid push if they get what they get like a ton of value. As I say that though, Comrade does end up finding a really solid pick onto that Octobrush with the Kraken. That's another special down, and I mean all of the Distinct's momentum basically stopped here because of it.
For Excalibur's, being patient is just really a blessing for them. They have that leader because they have leader, Distinct can't really approach them in a safe way, and the longer they wait, the more opportunities it's going to give that Carbon to really find a pick or two, and that just lets them control the pace of this match very, very hard. Distinct is trying to find something here, but it looks like a lot of their players are scattered. See in the back here, Proto finding a pick, and just drawing a lot of attention on this side here. It's going to be very difficult for Distinct to really find their footing in this type of scenario. Getting one or two all the time, but it doesn't really seem like they're able to break mid right now. I'm wondering how they're going to be really able to deal with that going forward.
It just hasn't been enough for a push. And with Comrade just getting all these picks on the left-hand side, it's become all the more difficult to kind of get something going. Proto's got another big bubbler set up in a prime spot to just hold some space, but ends up trying to push forwards into Mooj. Gets picked off. Now Tofu has to back up from the Whale. I believe 10 is close to the missiles. Has to back up, though, from the Kraken. Comrade is picked off, and this is exactly the opening that Distinct were looking for. They have a lot of just space to work with. The missiles are coming through, though, so this Zuka is going to have to go huge. Not even going to find anything just yet. Actually forced to back up pretty far. Mooj jumps into the beacon, but is picked off by Tan. Tan is pushing forwards on this left-hand side. Again, with Comrade and Proto supporting, they're able to find two, and within the dying 40 seconds, Distinct have to just fully reset and look at this push again and just see what can they do here to get things moving.
There's a brief 2v2 there after all of those interactions, but still Excalibur, they're finding themselves on top of everything. Just having Tofu standing behind this tower, just holding their ground, really pushing at this boat right here, making sure that they're not able to find any picks onto, making sure they're staying at a safe distance on that 10. And as Tofu's being backed up over here, I'm wondering, like, is this going to be the opening that Distinct gets? They're fighting a lot, but it looks like in these last 5 seconds it's going to be Distinct making a mad dash for the tower, as all of Excalibur is just looking at it, shooting at the tower, and that's going to be the game.
Yeah, I mean, Mooj is the only one left and not really able to find anything there. It's tough for a bow player to kind of play 1v4. The weapon's not really designed to do that and also push the objective at the same time, especially into a leader. That is not a fun thing to fight if you're having to walk forwards into it. And yeah, I mean that last fight was played really well by Excalibur 8's comp. They kind of just didn't let anybody from Distinct get in. They let Comrade do their thing on the Carbon as well as and that, you know, especially with sort of a slightly lower pain output comp from Distinct, just, you know, really only the mini splatling is super positive on the paint compared to, like, you know, you have the Zimmy, you have the Pro that can paint a good amount, especially in this comp. For Excalibur 8s, it's very difficult to kind of deal with the Carbon for Distinct here.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, even though it's 1-1, it feels like it could have been 2-0 at the same time, the way Excalibur's kind of just been running this set for the most part. And I'm wondering if Distinct is going to see that and decide, maybe we switch it up for this one. For this Flat Zone's Robo Ramen, do we want to keep the same things? Because for a lot of this set, they've kind of just been in the back seat.
Well, if I know one thing about Distinct, they are very dedicated to the roller bucket and bow, and I think Skittles is in a very similar boat with the Splatlings, and as we see, no changes going into Game 3 here. Outside of, actually, we have a Super Chump Spellstring instead, just, to really output a lot of paint and the Super Chumps. This could be kind of what Distinct need to just get more map control and prevent Comrade from getting in super consistently, as well as the Zuka onto Tofu early opening things up.
And Distinct really running through in these first couple of seconds. Even with that crazy shark from Comrade getting one, it looks like they're just going to have the zone completely in their color, looking to move up with Rafa right here in this choke point. Maybe find a pick or two in that corner. Nope, just going to get those tri-strikes. Wait for the ideal time to pop them, and just play this safe as Robo Ramen. This map just slows down sometimes, but when it speeds up, it gets very fast. You can see a lot of specials just came out onto the board right there. And the players are going down. Wavebreaker on the map. Chumps on the map now. These chumps do so much work here. Just ping the entire zone, but it looks like Excalibur is going to get their positioning on, paint over all those jumps, and get the zone back. As we can see, Tofu's sitting in mid, just looking for a pick right now.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things that Excalibur 8's comp are definitely going to be appreciative of is that Wavebreaker. Very solid at dealing with Super Chumps, just generally. If you have Object Shredder, it immediately shreds whatever's in its radius. And, I mean, that really helped them out in just keeping that zone capped, but already Distinct have control of the zone again. There's another set of Super Chumps up, and they don't have a Wavebreaker to deal with it. They have to turn around and shoot, and that gets Tiger and Skittles in, but they go down. Roth on the bottom left is going to have to jump out here, is going to be able to stay safe even in the face of the leader, but you have two players up, and Proto's got a big bubbler here that you have to burn the strikes on. There's not really much that you're working with, and now you have to find Comrade, and you're not going to before they find one, looking for that second, but Tiger's able to shut it down. The Trizuka not quite going to get anything. Excalibur 8's comp does end up taking the lead here, and Distinct don't really have a very consistent way in outside this big bubbler here, T.
Because what I kind of expected from Distinct's comp is that this Wellstring is going to, not Wellstring, the Inkline Bow, it's going to get a lot of these Super Chumps, has that Sprinkler up top, it can be painting all the time, and that's going to help them get in, but as soon as those Chumps are popped, they just get taken down immediately, it feels, and there's not really a great opening for Distinct. They're outside of, like, maybe the strikes, but yeah, they're able to get zone sometimes and keep this even, but it really does feel like Excalibur is able to keep pacing with this leader right here.
Ooh, Tofu dropping. That's a bit of trouble for the leader player. They're going to go down to Rafa. Distinct have that lead back. The strikes are coming through as well as Tiger from underneath the map, actually. And that's going to give Distinct a very sound fight when 10 ends up dropping on that left-hand side. Comrade is stuck on a wall. Tofu can't really get back in. And Distinct, they're able to answer back emphatically with a KO here. Really, really well done fight at the end there. A great punish on just Tofu kind of mispositioning towards the end.
Yeah, I especially liked, from what I saw of Nuja's gameplay, on this map, there's so many angles that Bo can just be such a nuisance at, and I feel like every time I saw them on the map, they were just trying to find some really obnoxious way to poke at Excalibur. Just that's what Bo does here very well, I feel. Just get all those jumps, get so much pain on this map. This Bo kit really pains so much, it amazes me every single time, but I feel like that was Distinct's ace in the hole for this game, especially right here. And I wondered how it's going to pan out going into Clan Blitz. Are we going to see that same Bow put in the work again?
I mean, the issue with the Chump Bow, I forgot if it's like a nouveau tri-stringer or it's Incline, right?
Yeah,
it's Incline tri-stringer. The issue with that is that outside of zones in which it outputs a boatload of paint, it doesn't really do all that much more that the other bow kits can't do. You know, if you want more chip damage and map control, you can kind of go with, and if you just want to force people to reposition while still having access to your main weapon, you go with the vanilla bow. If you want a really big playmaking special and a lot of damage, something to combo with, you go with the new one. I forgot, it's the Ember's Tri-Striker, right? But you're playing against...
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, but you're playing against a leader in Pro Comp, so we probably won't see that one, and it's on Museum D'Alfonsino. I'm assuming Mooj is going to be on that Vivo yet again. Never mind, and Rafa's on Stamper.
Huh. Well, that is a very interesting switch up on the side of Distinct. Yeah, that Incline Bow, it's... I have to admit, I kind of do like this weapon a lot, but it is definitely on the weirder side. As we can see with this opening, trying to find this kind of awkward angle just behind this pillar right here, shooting at the leader, and the leader shoots back because Bo has to peek out for to take some shots sometimes, and that's when leader really gets to strike. It looks like Excalibur is just gonna find this mid positioning right here, get the clams up, and see what they can do in these first couple of seconds.
Tan already making a power clam, tossing it back for the rest of the team. Gets picked off by Skills Zuka, I believe, as Rafa has the Zipcasters looking for a little bit of pressure onto Tofu. There's the pick, looking for just a little bit more. I think that's going to be most of the map control, but they still haven't found Comrade. Rafa's looking to dive onto two players, but not quite going to find anything. Just a little bit of chip damage, maybe at that. But now with Distinct having a pretty solid amount of mid control and Mooj not really pressured all that much by the E-leader, now they can start looking to score or maybe just looking for another fight here. But Proto's able to use that big bubbler to find one more pick. Rafa's in a bit of a tough spot, having the 1v2, not going to find anything there either as the missiles come through, and Excalibur 8's comp are looking for a push of their own. They completely flip that pretty quickly here.
And the dangerous thing about this map, if there's a leader, it gets very scary once they are able to get into that mid spinner. Tofu's going to give it up to pop that Kraken, and it seems like the push destabilizes pretty quickly after that. But they do get one score, and that's enough. For how this map plays out, sometimes that one score might just mean everything. I don't think Distinct is going to let that be the case, so they have pushed back incredibly so far. Already have Azuka shooting at people onto the spinner. Have a lot of clams on their side, and it looks like a push might come out pretty soon.
Doesn't look like it as two players end up going down to Proto's big bubbler yet again. Tofu's looking for another pick on the Mooj, but Mooj, learning from earlier this game, knows to just stand a little bit further back as Tofu will take those easy pickings on the right-hand side. A lot of open area there, and Bo doesn't really enjoy fighting that, especially into leader. Rafa ends up going down because Tam was right there to protect Tofu from the Zipcaster. However, the Trizuka comes through. It's not even needed as Mooj finds a 3-bolt direct onto Tofu, and that's going to give a little bit of space. Proto's able to shut down Tiger, but the big bubbler gets stopped immediately. Mooj finds another pick here, and Distinct, they haven't been able to get really a push going, but again, they've gotten a good amount of mid control before having to give it up because of that leader again.
And we're back into this scrapping in mid situation. Both teams are really trying to find their one opening right now. Distinct playing back. They have two clams on the board, so it could get very dicey. If one player goes down on the side of Excalibur, these jumps are gonna force them to move back with the Zipcaster too. Find one pick, and that might just be the lead that Distinct needs for this game, as the leader is going to go down on by the hands of Rafa. And here's a pincer play coming in on the spinner. It looks like all of these clams are coming into the basket in just 1 second. 2 clams up, 1 clam scored in. Can they get something here? Both players on the spinner. 1 clam is going to go in, 1 clam is going to miss. Tiger falling down just to get a couple scores. And Rafa in the back is able to get that clam and take that lead. Oh my, that is... And another one is jumping in right now. And that is 14 points down. Down to 14 by Distinct in just 1 push. This map is devious sometimes.
That might have been the funniest Clam Blitz push I've seen on this map. Just getting the first one in after getting a couple of picks. You immediately have 2 people running on the grates to get the other 2 power clams. Miss 1, doesn't matter because we get the lead anyways, right? There's an entire game happening, but like we'll talk about the scoring later. As Skittles does have Azuka to try and shut this push down, doesn't find anything. Tofu with another crack, and that's going to give scoring again. But can they find anything more than just the single power clam? Tofu ends up getting picked off. So does Tanish, just the last player with the power clam left. I believe that is Proto with it on the side of Excalibur 8's comp, but they're not able to score that just yet. They have another about 40 seconds with the overtime to find something. This big bubbler is going to be shredded pretty quickly. A bit of a rough spot in that lower ground, but still gives a little bit of space for Excalibur 8's comp to work with. And, I mean, with these chumps, they're looking to try and fight something, but Tofu finds Mooj again. Proto has the power clam, is on that block, isn't able to find anything just yet. And I mean, they just have a few more seconds to work with here, but with all of these specials, with Tiger on the right-hand side, this is going to be a very, very tough ask.
Yeah, overtime kicking in now, and there's just one clam on the board. It doesn't look like there's enough time to really find the clams to make something else. Tofu's really pushing up right now. Clams dropped by some player, and that I need to breathe after that game. Oh my goodness. What? Some things just happened, and yeah, Distinct, amazing job in that one play. That was a great set.
Congrats to Distinct for taking the set 3-1 on the silliest clam push I have seen. We have to go back and talk about that really quickly before anything. We go in for the first clam, right? That one works great. Send 2 people onto the grates on the top of Spinner. They both get picked off. One misses the power clam before, just barely by inches, right? The roller runs in, scores 3 more just to get that timer extended by a little, which is just enough for Rafa to take the jump back in from the block to score the last power. No, they jumped into the grates! They jumped into the grates and then immediately ran for the clam. Took them 14 points.
And
then the jump in as well from Mooj.
There was just so much that happened in such a short time frame that that's really the mark of like an amazing team. They can see a play like that start and they can push their advantage so far. That was just an amazing play on like all members of Distinct right there. That won them the game in a pretty incredible way. And that defense after was just that was beautifully played, I feel.
Impressive stuff from Distinct. Again, they're really good at just finding these moments that they can kind of just get a lot of mileage out of. We saw it on the Rainmaker game. We saw it a bit on the Splat Zones game too. All the games they won, they kind of only had like 1 or 2 pushes to get that lead and just kind of seal the game off of it. Really, really well done to them. And we will be cutting to break just rather quickly here. We're going to be watching Blanks play against Messi 5 and Vivian Giver.
Okay, we did not
see.
decide who was talking. We should talk about that. Do you want to go?
We should probably coordinate that.
Yeah.
Next time for sure. Anyways, welcome back to Paddling Pool 348. We've got your winners semis. I'm Signakari. Joining me on the mic is T. And T, we've got a familiar face and Blanksy here. How are you feeling going into Splat Zones on Inkblot?
This is and if you play a lot of comp, this is going to be like a pretty standard map for you. I feel like both teams are gonna know what they're doing here, especially looking at these other maps. Well, these are pretty common maps, all things considered, but Splat Zones Inkblot, that I feel like that's one Blanks especially is going to be very well prepared on. So I'm very excited to go into this first game. But we did see some Messy 5 before, and I don't know. I'm not sure what to expect as of right now.
It is pretty hard to get a read on this team, especially since the only set we saw them play was the best of 3 on Tower Control Urchin, which had a few asterisks there. But they had a very dominant second game. They ended up beating Spooky Spinner in round 2. Very, very solid team that has gotten second in maybe 1 paddling pools before. I don't quite know on that front, but they're a very, very solid team. And then we have Blanks, who, again, are another very strong team. They have Pyro, they have Golde, they have Yushi and Pancake here today. And so they're never a team that you should ever underestimate. And already Golde is able to find one, looking for maybe one more onto this Wiper, just tries to swing out with Pyro there. And Yushi is trying to just keep this zone capped. Already, Blanks having a really solid opening here.
Yeah, if you had to ask me just by the numbers who's going to win this set, my money is on Blanks, but because like in this first minute, the positioning was just so fire, all things considered. Looking at how this Tetra is pushing up, looking at how the Blaster is pushing up, all these players are working in such amazing tandem to keep the zone perfectly under control, make sure that Messy 5 is never able to get just enough in the zone so that they can really contest, not able to get a player in a significant enough way to pose a great threat. As you can see, the edit here just picks off a player instantly trying to jump. They knew that they did not have that positioning on lock. Blanks was able to capitalize off of that instantly, and it looks like that dominance might be a bit over right now. I spoke a bit too soon. It looks like Messy 5 is going to go 3 players down, but Blanks is going to go 2 players down in the last couple of ticks on their side, 1 remaining on the zone, and that's going to be a pretty nice 0 to 100. No, 100 to 0 on the side of Blanks for this very first game.
Very, very well executed on by Blanks there. I'm honestly surprised that they were able to hold at the very end, with the strikes coming through, with the blaster of Pancake getting picked off at the very end. It can be a little bit tough just to kind of hold on to that zone, but able to at the very end, just a little bit, just not enough, just barely not enough time for Messy 5 to kind of get that cap back. And these fights were just excellently done, making sure you just constantly have paint. The Blaster just did a fantastic job in that bottom left that we saw earlier of stalling out. The slider from Golde was able to get a pick onto the zone, and that ended up getting securing the KO, even in the face of 2 players going down to a splat bomb on the other side of the map.
Yeah, the thing I'd really like to highlight from Blanks the most is just how well composed they were in the face of like anyone on the side of Messy 5, especially, just because Messy 5 is a very strong team. To make it to this point in the bracket, you need to be very, very strong, and Blanksy is just not giving them any room to really work with. If there's a pick on the side of Blanks, there's someone else there to find something back. They're really not giving up anything in this first game. And so in something more volatile, like I feel Humpback Rain, I do wonder how it's going to play out, because it's going to be pretty chaotic. We saw Messy 5 with a pretty dominant game in our other set before, and I don't know if they're going to be able to recreate something like that against Blanks, but I'd really like to see something like that happen.
I mean, it's entirely possible. This is one of the maps that we saw them kind of dominate on earlier this tournament, so again, entirely possible. They have a couple of favorable matchups across the board, but they really need to find ways to shut down Golde that aren't just, oh yeah, stick the Wiper on him, because that is supposedly a good matchup. Because at this level, I mean, a lot of the players with that play weapons with bad matchups know how to kind of navigate those. And then you have to deal with 3 other players on the team. And so I just want to see what Messi 5 kind of do here to respond. How will they respond to blanks and this aggression that they just, quite frankly, haven't seen?
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to get even more aggressive with this Sploosh-O-Matic on the field right now. Double cooler on the side of blanks as well. It looks like they're just going to be running it down for the most part. What is going to happen in this game, I really wonder, as we see the Sploosh immediately pick up and go down within the first couple seconds and wipe on the side of Messi 5.
Well, dang, okay. Sure, man. They found a way.
I think they know how to play this map very well, and it looks like they're going to keep it going. 3 players down on the side of blanks again as the Rainmaker's back up once more. It's looking a bit dicey in this corner. As the players of Messi 5 are able to jump back in, possibly. There's 1, there's 2, and all 4 players are back up into that choke point, trying to find something to get in as the Sploosh is going to do a world tour right now. Hammer from behind, is this able to get a pick on the Rain? No, but they're able to distract her long enough to just destabilize this whole push. Well, not really, but destabilize it well enough that Blanks is probably going to find their footing again and may just find something. I'm still kind of taken aback by, like, Blanks' comp right now.
Just the complete change of pace, as well as just able to kind of capitalize, though. Messi 5 have done a very solid job. The Decapitator also coming in and getting another pick. It's just Pyro left, and they're going to go down. The Splashdown comes in from Pancake, but not really much a Custom Blast can kind of do in that situation. However, Yushi on the hammer is able to find 2 picks, grabs that Rainmaker, and is looking just for an immediate lead, already down to 27, make that 23 points. A very, very solid and sneaky play from that Sploosh. Doing a great job at opening things up for the rest of blanks, and now they can kind of play a little bit more reserved with their lead, and with they can kind of lean into the rattiness of the Sploosh-O-Matic a little bit more, just to kind of stop this Rainmaker push.
Yeah, and Messi 5 is very fearful right now. They saw that in that final push, they got a couple more points. That Sploosh is really just gonna be a big threat to them. They're trying to get some quick plays of their own, just running the Rainmaker immediately to that left side, but it doesn't really work out in their favor. Blanks can really control what happens here right now. With the players, like, they have to... Messi 5 needs to be very, very scared of what this Sploosh can do. As they've already seen, like, if you let it get an inch, it will take miles and miles and miles, and you can't really afford that right now. You need to find some way to safely deal with this Sploosh. But it doesn't really look like there's a great answer. This map has so many curves that they're just able to find so many openings, I feel.
But, I mean, that goes the other way as well, as this 52 Gal Deco is able to find a route into the plat and the spawn of Blank C. But, I mean, Yushi again with that hammer, but now Cappy has something to say, tries to pick off Pyro. Pancake is successful, but this Rainmaker is still being stalled in the bottom left. Very, very solid spot for it to be for the side of Blank C. You can kind of just drop on it with the Sploosh with the hammer, just like Yushi just did. Naruto is trying to just make a little bit of space, stabilize for the team. They're not going to be able to get that pop, but they are able to at least shut down one player. Now they have to worry about Yushi yet again, and I mean, that's dancing through 3 players, able to find that pick, jumps out to Blank C. They're having a field day on this map again.
That was just such a beautifully orchestrated play, coming in here for the final pick. That's gonna go to Rainmaker, sorry. But, geez, yeah, this is looking like a pretty dominant game from Blanks. I'm wondering how Messi 5 is going to come back at this, as it looks like Multi over here is just going to take the Rainmaker and stall it over in this corner, as this is, well, not stall it, they're going to drop it over here, possibly get some points, possibly get that knockout, but I'm not even sure what's happening anymore, really. I got lost at some point, and there's a Kraken chasing this edit right now, and there's so many things happening on the screen. Let's watch the Sploosh.
Yeah. I mean, this Sploosh is kind of doing the funny thing again, just looking to dive onto multiple players. Is able to get one with the curling bomb and make some space, enough for Pancake to move in, as well as I think that is Golday on the zap, as well as Golday on that zap, able to again stall the Rainmaker push. Now they just need one more pick, and with Pancake on a bit of a sneaky shark on this wall, just waiting for that big bubbler to kind of subside here before not even needing to reveal themselves. Just the Rainmaker ends up going down there, and we see Blanks in a pretty comfortable 2-0 position now.
Yeah, that's not what I was really expecting from that game, but I do love seeing some Sploosh gameplay. No matter what level of play, it's always going to be a very fun weapon to watch. And you know who was not having fun? Messi 5 for most of this game, as they just had a huge thorn in their side, really. Not able to safely push the Rainmaker to any position, because there was always the fear that there was going to be a Sploosh running behind a curling bomb or just somewhere, always behind with a hammer. And, that's not even accounting for the other weapons on the team. Just fearing a blaster from anywhere with a corner. And those coolers providing so much support for these weapons to be able to run in it. It was just a really well executed comp from the side of Blanks.
Yeah, very, very well done. I like the change up. They were able to just kind of really pick up the pace. I mean, they were playing incredibly aggressively and explosively on the first map, but this just took it to a whole new level with the Sploosh, especially from Yushi, really getting a chance to shine there instead of being put on junior duty for the paint. And Blanks just did a fantastic job at getting that early lead, locking out and everything. And now they're one game away from going to winners finals.
Yeah, coming into this third game on tower control Mako Mart, I don't think we're going to see the Sploosh again. It could happen, but I feel like the junior might be the safer pick for the team here. But then again, they've won both these games in a pretty dominant fashion. I feel like Blanks can really play what they want here, and they're going to understand what they need to do to win against whatever comp Messi 5 is planning to pull out against them. They've already displayed that they understand their win conditions very, very well. So I feel like Blanks here is really... They can have a bit of fun if they want to. Play something more untraditional again. So I'm excited. Blanks is very strong here.
This is going to be a pretty tough fight for Messi 5. Forgot the team name, and they decided to take a page out of Blanks' book with the Sploosh-o-matic. And they're looking to just get a little bit silly here, as Blanks go back to their kind of more standard comp that we know them for. Already, though, Golday is going to be picked off in the 1v2. And Messi 5 have a good amount of map control here, but it doesn't matter because Yushi's just on that tower riding it to the first checkpoint. The big bubbler's up for safety. The Wiper is behind. Same thing with the heavy edit from iCarly God, but they're not able to find anything. Actually, that's a lie. They're able to find the Tetradualies, and the Sploosh-o-matic is able to find Yushi there. Pyro ends up going down here on the jump, and this Sploosh is kind of putting in work.
Yeah, I would definitely say from if you just told me that like Messi 5 wanted their Sploosh to counter the other Sploosh, I would have thought maybe that's not the best idea, but for this first push, it really helped destabilizing and just being able to get behind, as we can see, running forward a lot, able to find 2 picks on this corner and still going here, potentially a third with his hammer, and are we looking at a Sploosh quad right now? Splash the Sploosh. This is not what I was expecting. I guess this is the Sploosh setup for turning, as we can find a 5th right now. Messi 5 just swaps the lead right now, as it looks like Blanks really doesn't know what to do about this other Sploosh. Is that 6 skills?
That's gotta be like 6. That's 9? That was 9 frags for the Sploosh-o-matic, down to 34 points for Messi 5. That's just absolutely bonkers that they got that much. And now Blanks are on a bit of a back foot. They're kind of at a loss of what to do here. Cappy trying to jump onto that heavy edit, not going to find anything. Yushi has another big bubbler on that tower for just getting to that second part of the map. And Blanks are still able to find a couple of things, but so are Messi 5. They're able to find 2 for the price of 1. Caffey looking for another one onto Pyro here. The heavy edit goes down, and that's a lot of your stability gone. Thankfully, you have 2 players up with the cooler. The hammer, not the heavy, comes through, is able to find 1 more. And I mean, Blanks are still going. They could take this lead pretty quickly. All these trades have been kind of favoring them with the cooler, with the numbers advantage as well. And Golday is just in the spawn looking to do a little bit similar of what that Splushamatic just did. They're on the 3rd checkpoint. Now the splashdown doesn't find anything and Pyro ends up going down, but Yushi's immediately there to take the tower. It's just Pancake left and they're able to find 1. A little bit of chip damage onto that Wiper, but not much more than that. And Blanks, they're going to be pretty happy with with 3 checkpoints and change here.
Yeah, the Blank said, whatever you can do, I can do better. And they just found such a huge lead, pushing Messi 5 in a way that really didn't let them get back into the position that they wanted to. Players just going down on every side, riding that tower advantage, and that was just an amazing play on the side of Blanks. As the tower is still on their side, Messi 5 is finally finding some of their footing back in the mid, as we can see. The Sploosh is just trying to get in the backline again, see if they can replicate some of that success from earlier in this game. But down to 8 points, it's going to be very, very difficult for Messi 5 to find that type of a lead again.
Yeah, that'll be pretty difficult. But I mean, we saw what that Sploosh can do already. And if they go on a tear like that again, in which case the Wiper is looking to now with that hammer, finds 1, looking for the second. They turn away from the blaster, and that's going to be their undoing here, but the Sploosh is in immediately after it finds 1. It's just a full stagger, and now Blanks. It's just Yushi left, able to find a pick with the bomb, I think. But now they're in a really solid spot for defense. They can just kind of chuck bombs from up here, not really have to worry about any other pressure thanks to the big bubbler for just a little bit. Able to find 1 onto iCarly God. Caffey ends up going down as well, and Blanks have a successful defense. They just need to hold on for 45 more seconds here.
And, you know, Messi 5 is not going to make that easy for them. The tower is slowly pacing back in the mid, but Messi 5's players are moving up, trying to like force any way they can to keep this lead. And then, you know, on the tower, Kathy is still sticking around. That's going to be the last. Nope, they have players jumping in one after another, and it looks like they're trading with the members of Blanks as well, as the tower is ticking down slowly and slowly to 13 right now. 3 players down on the side of Messi 5, as the Sploosh is the final player to jump in, and that's a full wipe. 13 seconds left on the map. And it looks like Blanks may just take this time to ride the tower to victory, ticking down from 5 now. If 1 is able to find, the splashdown is just going to come down, and that's going to be the set in favor of Blanks, 3-0.
Yeah, very, very solid stuff for Blanks. They're able to close out. It looked really tough when that Sploosh got in. Just incredibly difficult for them to come back from. They were able to kind of bring it all the way back down to 8 points and hold off for another 2 minutes afterwards. Blanks are resilient. They've been able to show that they can kind of hang with whoever and keep that pace and keep that aggression, kind of mitigate the damage that the other team does. And that's going to book them a ticket to winners finals. They've been kind of on fire recently, huh?
Yeah, that was a very, very dominant third game. I mean, even though parts of it were like definitely in Messi 5's favor, Blanks pulled back and they figured out their strategy and played it to the best of their ability, especially in those when Messi 5 started pulling back with their second wave of pushes. The bubble on just on that like little corner from the junior, that was a very good way to diffuse that final push, because they knew that they could let Messi 5 get, you know, not close enough to 8, but just around that 10-13 range. And that was safe enough for them to just sit back, throw bombs, and make sure that they didn't get any more points. You know, play the patient game. They knew they're out. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see the players on Blanks move forward to face off against the winner of distinct, and that is some emoji that I cannot read. It looks like a skunk. That's a skunk.
It's a skunk. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So the
yeah.
winners of that set, we'll see how that fares later on.
Well, we will see all of that unfold after this quick break.
Hello, hello, hello. We are back here with Paddling Pool. I forgot the number, but we are back here with Paddling Pool. Number 348. I'm T. This is Sig Dokari. How are we feeling about this set, Sig?
Feeling all right. You know, we have Excalibur 8 saw comp again, with the Leader Pro Mini and Carbon. So that's gonna be pretty interesting. This time they're playing Flamesion.
It
Uh
might just be Flame
Flamesion.
Scion.
Flame Scion, it could be that. Not really sure, but we'll do our best with it. I'm not really too familiar with any of the players on this team, but I'm sure it'll be interesting. They've made it this far in bracket to play Excalibur 8s, so I mean, we're kicking things off on tower control on Hagglefish Market here, T.
Yeah, gonna be very interesting. We did see Excalibur before with that leader carbon combo, as you were saying, and you know that is really good on Hagglefish Market for just taking that space. And I really can't say anything about Flame Scion over here. I do not know anything about it, but I wonder what they're gonna bring in here. Something that we did notice earlier is that we have not seen like we've gotten like only Splatlings on this stream so far, which is kind of crazy. So this could just be another Splatling team. We could keep it going, or I don't know. Maybe we'll get our first like non-heavy edit cooler weapon so far. Oh no, I guess we had a Zap earlier last set, but it's
I
been
mean, there was a
almost
heavy
all-
edit there too.
all non-edit cooler weapons. Like
Oh, and there's our pencil.
first pen of the
Okay.
stream, like an hour and a half in, but yeah, it looks like Flame Scion's gonna run this sort of mid-range based comp with this Decapitator and Frozen Pro combo. Very interesting to see.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of having the decav going in with the missiles and just having a lot of support to go along with it. Sarah's already looking for one, finds one, looking for that second, gets it with the direct, looks for just a little bit more. Comrade has to back off there, and already Flame Scion has gotten a really solid foothold in mid. They're not going to do anything just yet with it, trying to just stabilize with those missiles. Sarah able to find one more and is just trying to just make all the space in the world. Karima is also following up with that custom blaster. We've also seen a bit of custom blaster in this tournament here lately, T. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like Blaster's a weapon that never goes out of style, honestly. As you see that splashdown threaten so much space. Even if it gets taken down, so many players were looking at it at once that it just allowed Flame Scion to get those extra couple points. And you never know how much that really matters. They're already down to 37, just a bit over a minute into this game, you know. Yeah, Custom Blaster, it's old reliable, I feel. It's just going to work anytime. But on the flip side, we have a lot of, like, I think Excalibur's been running this sort of comp every single time, or like most of the time, and it feels very, very reliable for them, especially this E-leader to Carbon combo. Very good for just controlling space, controlling the pace of the match. And coming to the second checkpoint, it seems like they're really starting to get you know, that combo set up, and that allows the other players to really move forward. As you can see, Tan taking this space with the Forge, with the Splash Shot Pro, and that's going to be a wipe on the side of Excalibur, able to take back that lead and possibly just get a knockout in this very first game. Oh, that's 2 on the Zuka, and that's going to be a bubble on the tower with not a lot of points left on the board. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is game 1 on the side of Excalibur's.
Wow, what an answer back in that little bit, in that push from Excalibur 8's comp. That, I mean, they got just about everything they wanted to in terms of picks. We saw 10 kind of jumping around, getting that pencil, the Zuka, like you highlighted at the very end there, just to kind of shut things out for Flame Scion. And then, I mean, everything after I think they reached the second checkpoint for Flame Scion was just going Excalibur 8's comp's way. It was really, really well executed by them. You know, they managed to find their footing, just lock back in a little bit, and I mean, look at this pick. This is kind of that's a little bit silly, I feel.
Yeah, I mean that's not a lot of players are hitting shots like that. So I think that really shows you like the tier that Excalibur is playing at. But I do also think like some of these plays from Flame Sign were very, very nice. Like that opening with the Decapitator. That first minute with the Decapitator, it was very, very like beautiful to see them just weave in and out of a lot of these players' ranges and just avoid like getting splatted very quickly. Because Decap is kind of known as that weapon that like forces all these trades and gets in and just like, I might be going down, but I'm taking someone with me. But they were like getting in, just getting their one and getting out in such an efficient way. I feel like if Flamesign is able to replicate that through like throughout this entire next game, that's really what's gonna get them ahead in this set.
Yeah, I think that could really work out in their favor. Uh, they haven't really done. They've done okay in mitigating Tofu's what's it called, impact as well. It's just everybody else is kind of just taking that load, that pressure, and is applying it to Flame Scion. They're not really able to deal. Now we're going over to uh everybody's favorite Reef Slider map of Makomart on Splat Zones. This is where Tan's weapon pool flexibility might come into play a little, because if I recall, they play Dreadringer as well. Now I don't think we're gonna see it, but it's on the table. Never mind. There's the Forge Pro, just sticking with a little bit more fight power, and yeah, I mean just same comps all around here.
Yeah, just sticking to what they know. Both teams don't really feel like they need to change anything going into this map, even though, the vibes are kind of different. You would expect to see like a Reef Slider or two here, but both teams really feel like they're comfortable with what they know and just going to stick to it. That Custom Blaster is always going to be strong in this map. As you can see, they're positioned right under that stack, trying to find a player or two, and able to take over that space. That's going to be a very early lead for Flame Scion, able to get that last-minute pick on the leader as they're jumping out. It's going to be very tough for Excalibur 8s to really find their footing back into this mid now, as if their anchor just went down, they're going to need a good special to force other players out of place, and it's going to just be that Booyah on the side of Tan that's going to let them like force something onto the zone directly. And Flame Scion is just playing impatient right here, They don't have a lot to burn a lot of their resources, just wait for Excaliburs to push in and respond.
Ooh, Sarah almost getting Tofu there. That would have been a massive pick for Flame Scion. They don't quite need it just yet, but now they're kind of hoping that they at least got it, because Tofu's in a fantastic spot. A lot of range to work with here. Nefer the Pro isn't going to be able to find anything there either, as Excalibur 8's comp is going to get that flip, finally start scoring again. Sarah's in a bit of a rough spot now. Almost gets picked off by Tofu, but now with 4 players looking at them, they are not very long for this world, as Excalibur 8's comp are managing to close in just ever slowly on this lead. XF does have that cooler, and there are the missiles coming through from the Pro now. And now it's the question of, can Flame Scion kind of capitalize on both of those? Comrade gets picked off by a splat bomb for some reason. Just kind of spun around it, and now the Pro is just looking for a little bit of control around the zone. Not going to find it, as the leader's going to find that pick immediately. Tan with the Booyah Bomb to kind of seal that lead. Sarah in a bit of a tough spot here. There's the big bubbler from Proto as well, and I mean, this has just been, again, just Excalibur 8's comp kind of getting a little bit too loose with it early on, but they come back for another KO win and secure the set 2-0.
Yeah, that was both those games felt like they could have gone either team's way, but Excalibur 8s, they're just very impressive with it. I don't think Tofu ever went down after they recapped that zone either. Just a very impressive display of how dominant their leader play is. I saw them rotating around the map at almost every single second, just trying to find a great angle to get someone at Flame Scion on, keeping that pressure up all the time, and it really prevented Flame Scion from finding their footing back in the mid. So that's going to be a very dominant team that's moving on here.
Incredibly solid work. I'm curious to see what else they do in the lower bracket going through this. I believe they play against Messi 5 and Vivian and Kiver next. So that's going to be a pretty solid set, but we're going to go back to the winner side of bracket after this short break. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Paddling Pool 348. I'm Sig Dakari. Joining me on the mic for the last time this block is T. T, how are you feeling? We got our winter semis, and we got two teams that we just saw win some sets.
Yeah. Winner semi here. We have Blanks, a team we saw in a pretty dominant set just now, and Distinct, who was not seeded to make it here initially, just beat the number 1 seed of the tournament, being Skunk Emoji. So this is gonna be a pretty massive toss-up, honestly. That we didn't get to see the set with Distinct and Skunk, but it would seem to be a Game 5 nail-biter. And I'm wondering if they're able to carry that same sort of energy into this set right here. Just not take the whole tourney right now, but find themselves in a pretty good spot in grand finals after this. Going into this first map on Scorch Gorge Clam Blitz, what do we think is going to be run here?
Well, I mean, we know what Distinct's gonna run because they're pretty married to that bow roller. What's it called? The bow roller splatling slosher kind of thing, unless they want to switch it up, like put Rafa on a stamper or something. And then, I mean, Blanks we've seen run a few different things, but I would assume that they would run the heavy edits, the Tetra Dually Junior and Custom Blast that we saw in the previous set. Both very proficient. I'm curious to see specifically how Mooj is going to deal with a lot of the pressure that, that Blanks are going to apply. It's going to be pretty tough just for the bow to kind of work with that, but I think with the mini splatling, they have some pretty good odds here. Now, going into Clam Blitz, I mean, it's an incline bow. I mean, no leader in the game means that they can kind of run that jetpack without much worry. I kind of like that pick. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, honestly, I really like the synergy that this kit provides, even though, like, angle shooter jetpack, that's not what you'd exactly call meta, but it just works with bow, because it's such an odd weapon. You know, the jetpack is going to really help with this shorter range comp. The Tetras and Junior aren't really going to be able to shoot it down that easily. And so it's going to help with a lot of these pushes on Scorch here, just trying to get past this central choke point. And if they can get it set up in that right spot, it's really going to be a really, really good push for Distinct. As we're getting into this boxing phase of the match, Distinct is finding himself with a lot of good clams here and a lot of good mid paint here. This could mean something if they get just the right stuff, as the Tetra is going to go down to a rather unfortunate curling bomb. It's going to look like Distinct's really getting their stuff set up right now.
Yeah, but as you say that Mooj ends up going down, that's a lot of the range that Distinct kind of have to work with here. They do have the Big Bubbler and the Trizuka just at their disposal, going to pop that just immediately to try and clear out mid. Finds one pick, gets an assist on the other one, and it's just Golday left, and Golday's not really able to do anything on this push. Pyro's trying to follow up, but just ends up opting to play for those grates, just try and, do what a heavy splatling does best, which is run around on the grates, kind of be annoying and strafe around and just output a lot of bullets onto the map. And I mean, it's working so far. Blanks have a good amount of map control. Pyro is kind of in a tougher spot, now has the tactical to work with. Oh, Mooj, though, finding a double, really big, but Golday is right there. Rafa trying to get that before Mooj goes down. The power clam is still up and running for Distinct. They get that score in. The strikes are there for a little bit more space, and Rafa's got 5 clams here to continue the scoring here.
Yeah, Distinct, they found a really good power play in just 1 second, and that really translated into a pretty good lead right now, down to 59 points with just 1 push. It's going to mean a wipe on the side of it means that Blanks is going to get a wipe for now, but it doesn't really look like they have the clams to immediately capitalize off of it. They're going to jump their pity clam, but that's not going to be the entire lead right now. Just scoring in a couple spare clams. Do they have anything better? They do swap lead, but it's nothing huge right now. Well, it is kind of huge, but there's still a lot of game left to be played, is what I'm trying to say. As the scoring is still happening, actually. I don't even know what I was saying, but there's a power clam on the board and 20 points left. It just takes 1 right now as they've slowly whittled down this lead, and that's going to be it.
Wow, what a 100-0. You don't see those often on Clam Blitz, nearly as often as you do the other modes. That was really, really well done from the side of Blanks. and really good juggling of the clams. Great fights up front as well, getting that stagger going to kind of throw Distinct off their game. And I mean, Blanks just did a fantastic job at capitalizing off of the fights that they took there.
Yeah, I really didn't think that that push from Blanks was going to mean a lot, but they took their time. They just got a couple clams in at a time and slowly just went down from that initial 80 down to 50, down to 20, and then that final clam just sealed the deal for that first game. So we're gonna see Blanks up 1-0 in this set. It's I still don't really know what to say about this so far, because Distinct feels like they have that X factor coming in off of that last set, but Blanks has already shown that they can play this Clam Blitz set pretty dominantly. And how are they gonna just take that into other modes, I feel?
Yeah, I mean that can be pretty tough for just kind of Distinct to work with. Again, the bow is going to have to deal with a lot of this pressure from the slider and the Tetra, from the Junior, the S Blast or the Custom Blast. Too used to seeing S Blast lately. And so that can be really difficult to work with. The rest of the team has to be on top of their game. And they don't really have any long-range poke options outside of the bomb on the slosher and the bow itself. So they have to take those heads-up fights. And on when they're holding the clam basket, Blanks absolutely loves holding those. I think we'll see a little bit of a different dynamic unfold here as we go on to Rainmaker on Museum. I think we'll be seeing, for sure, we'll be seeing the sploosh from Yushi. It's just, again, I don't really know what Distinct is going to really do to kind of deal with that. Mooj is going to have to be very, very mobile, very capable of dealing with and absorbing that pressure. And they absolutely can. I know they can, but the question is, can they this game,
Yeah, we saw it from Blanks before. Its sploosh is it's just an absolute menace when it's in the hands of Yushi. So Bo really isn't that well known for taking one-on-one engagements well, but that's all Blanks is going to really be doing in this set. If they're doing that same double cooler comp that they ran before, especially, it's going to be very, very difficult for Distinct to keep pace. I'm expecting that the same jetpack to come out again. So if that's what Distinct goes with, I feel like that's the safer bet, but Bo has options. The vanilla kit with a killer whale, it's always going to be useful in Rainmaker because it has that mist, and just the chip damage from whale can just be enough to get a KO on the rain sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it can be. There's the Tetra, a new iteration not running the double cooler that we just saw, and that's a Nautilus and Shot. They swapped out, they got Afro in there instead of Rafa, just to have a shot player, maybe just a little bit more mobility. I know some slosher players aren't the biggest fan of it on this map, and already, I mean, Afro is just being super aggressive, finding 2 picks. Nobody knows where Yushi is right now, though. Eventually find them. It's just Pyro left, and they're not really able to do anything other than find that early pick on the Rainmaker. But with Mooj, the bow still up, they can get that instant pop. Afro's looking for an early checkpoint, but isn't quite able to find it. Gets picked off. The big bubbler as well isn't going to provide a safe haven for anybody. As Mooj with a massive double on the jetpack. Yushi has that Rainmaker, but is just backing up to try and stay safe. Uses the drop roller to get out, and then is back to pressuring in mid.
I was about to say, Distinct might have moved that Rainmaker a bit too fast, but it looks like now they have so much mid control that it didn't really matter that they missed the checkpoint. They're still able to keep the rain on. Well, they forced Blanks to pick up the rain for a bit and stall a bit, so it's still pretty far in Distinct's favor right now as they're carrying the rain, just trying to get it to that second checkpoint. The first checkpoint, my bad. And they're finally able to get it just one member up. It looks like the pop is going to get them, though. And it's back into Blanks' hands right now as Benji is going to throw some sensors onto Plat, see if they can get anyone. Nope, Afro's in mid. Just going all around the map, it seems.
Bro's just kind of chilling, but Blanks have a pretty solid hold here. They could look for this checkpoint, but already 2 players are on that check. They're able to get it. Not quite the lead. They need another pop here, but with just the blaster of Pancake left, Afro's going to immediately pressure, get in that sweet spot where the blaster has to direct, is going to find that. Mooj goes down to the curling bomb. These curling bombs have been absolutely lethal this game. Can we just like really quickly talk about that? Something about them has just been menacing.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really expect them to have that huge of a radius, but you just charge it a little bit and it goes. It's massive, just how like large that chip radius is. It is also great for popping Rainmaker for a couple of reasons. You can see Tiger like cooks the curling bomb for just a second there before letting it rip. You know, that I mean, you can use that for so many purposes. It could just be your mobility tool in, or it could just be a feint, or it can get a kill. You never know, really.
Definitely a lot of utility on the curling bomb, and I mean, so far it's been working out pretty well for both sides. Golday has the Reef Slider, isn't able to find the moves, but there's a splashdown jump coming through from Pancake. Yushi's going to pop the hammer to get the pop onto the Rainmaker shield, and now Blanks still have control. They're looking to rush forwards again. Yushi is just running at this Nautilus. Not normally a weapon that you want to contest, but when your whole job is to make space for that Rainmaker to run forwards on that push, down to 40 points, that is absolutely fantastic. But the Zuka from Afro is going to find a pick onto Pyro, and now Blanks are in a bit of an awkward spot, just with Skittles just trying to move this Rainmaker. There's somebody striking on the top of Spinner, but Afro's going to find them out pretty quickly, and with 2 players down, there's an entirely huge opportunity for Distinct to get that lead. They're 4 points short, though, here, T.
That is a rather unfortunate place to leave it, and then Blanks is just going to immediately drop it, saying, yeah, we don't need to deal with this. Yushi's just going to pick up the rain, go all the way to the other side. Hey, look at me. I have the rain. You have to pay attention to me. Pay attention to objective right now. Look, I'm getting points right now. And, you know, that lead of 4 just went down to 14 on this map. That means everything. 1 minute left on the clock. Distinct really needs to find a way to get this lead. They really don't want to go down 2-0 in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, that it would be a really rough thing for them to kind of be down 2-0, especially against a team like Blanks, where they're not afraid to just play super aggressive in your face and force you to make a lot of mistakes. But so far, I mean, it's been incredibly tough for Distinct to find an opening that they've just made so much use of in the previous games. And, I mean, Afro's able to find 1 pick, but Pyro still has uncontested control of mid. Tiger's now moving to kind of mitigate that. As Afro gets traded out by Pancake, Skittles is going to have to pick up that Rainmaker. And now we're in a bit of a more, comfortable game state for Distinct. They have a couple of specials that they're close to with the bow, or with the Inkjet and the Big Bubbler. And the Rainmaker has like 30 or 40 seconds here to try and just find something. You know, everybody on the side of Blanks is cooler, so they're going to be able to dive onto the rain, at least try to. 2 players end up going down, but they're able to find a pick in favor of that, and those coolerless picks are absolutely massive for Blanks. The splashdown comes through, the hammer doesn't find anything, neither will the splashdown. It's actually multiple players down. The Reef Slider comes through, is going to find 70 damage, but the Rainmaker's stuck in the free zone now with only 10 seconds. You have to run for it immediately. Afro has so much space, but is picked off by the heavy edit, and with that, Blanks go up 2-0.
Yeah, Distinct they really tried there at the end, but unfortunately the time is not in their favor. Blanks understood that they could just play the clock, and eventually Distinct is going to have to approach them in that tough situation. But that's going to be a very, all things considered, very tight game of Rainmaker. I really, really like I really like that Nautilus pick, actually. I was not expecting something like that, but, you know, for Rainmaker especially, and just catching those sharks, it's a pretty useful weapon.
Yeah, it's really good at just kind of shutting down Tetra. I've heard Tetra players express their frustration in having to play against the Nautilus before. Similar thing to Sploosh, where a lot of these weapons that really just like running at you and kind of face checking 1v1ing that don't outrange not, it can get a lot of value and find a lot of picks against. We didn't see that quite working out, as oftentimes Skittles was the person picking up Rainmaker. but the theory behind it is very sound, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see it going into this game 3 as well.
Mhm. Yeah, Blank's really up right now. Just they have a very good sense of how to play the game. It's against a lot of these different comps that Distinct is putting them through. And you were saying that Distinct is really they're sort of married to their comp, but I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to switch up something else because it for a lot of that game it felt like Blanks just had the control regardless. Even if they had that not to sort of face check, even if they had just a general a very solid comp, it felt like it feels like they're kind of missing something right now. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, they're struggling a good bit just to kind of deal with this onslaught that blanks are bringing. And okay, we see another weapon switch. Skittles is going over to the V Mini with the Hammer Burst Bomb. Another weapon that kind of does pretty well with a lot of the chip damage that they're working with the bow. And then there's that Incline Tri-String. Now, we did see this work incredibly well against Excalibur 8's comp. And Afro's already going in, finds a pick. But Pancake is immediately able to trade that out, find one more for the Troubles before Mooj shuts them down. Blanks have a very early lead here. But, I mean, it's only about 15 points so far. But all of Distinct is pushed back, so Blanks could, with this Crab Tank, walk forwards a little bit. I didn't even realize that Pyro was on Feedles this entire time. A very, very solid weapon pick for this map.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, honestly. The way that Crab is able to just command so much space on this map, if you have advantage or disadvantage just anywhere, it's able to force players into a very awkward spot, and that's so valuable. And with Duel, you're able to get so much of it while still being able to fight so well. So that weapon just has so many strengths on this map specifically. You can see there that they went in for the trade. Did they even trade? They still have advantage here, and that's another Crab that's going to be building up soon. In just a couple seconds, seems like they have it now, and Blanks is ready to launch their next round of offense. As Distinct is also getting close to their specials, it looks like everyone's going to start throwing stuff at the zone soon. That's at some point on Robo Realm, you just start throwing stuff at the zone and things happen. Here we go. We see the chumps in the choke point, and see if Distinct is able to cap on their side.
No, not quite able to get any of that zone flipped just yet. Close to it. The Chump's not going to do anything. A 3v3 though, and Pyro is just kind of hanging out here on the right-hand side and able to survive for quite a while, even with the Tri-Stringer bolts coming through from Mooj. Both bubbles popped on the zone. Tiger's just trying to find a pick, but with the other big bubbler, Roller doesn't have the craziest object damage, so it can't really do anything. Afro's rushing the Tacticaler, but Pyro's immediately able to shut it down. Yushi on the left-hand side is able to find two with the bomb and the Crab Tank support from Golday, and that's another zone cap for Blanks. Now, Distinct did get the flip, so there is a little bit of penalty, but they're back in the same place they were before here, TN. I mean, it's looking tough, especially with these trades.
Yeah, we can see the bubble up on the side of Blanks too. If they're just waiting for Distinct to find something and use that bubble to counter offense. And with how little time there is left, I'm really worried because Distinct doesn't have a lot of players. They don't have a lot of things that can actually shred that bubble fast. And getting off of these penalty points, Distinct really needs to get something on the zone right now. It's probably going to be those super jumps from the bow. Here we go, jumps on zone launch, but 3 players down on the side of Distinct as the final ticks come down. Blanks is going to find another 3-0 to find themselves in grand finals.
Really, really solid play from Blanks. Did give up the flip there, but I mean, they were able to kind of collect themselves and get right back to business and shut things down. Excellent work from them. Like you said, they're going to Grands, and Distinct are going down to the lower bracket finals. We will definitely be seeing them again. But yeah, excellent work. Excellent play from Blanks. That aggression really paid off.
Yeah, and I feel like that just goes to show how well-versed Blanks is in so many like different scenarios. Because if you look at the maps they played, Zone's Robo Ramen requires so many different skills from like Rainmaker on Museum, and so the fact that they were able to KO so well on Robo and just do well on Museum, yeah, I feel like it just displays how like solid their game plan is all around. You know, you're expecting that from like a team of that caliber this far in the bracket. They haven't dropped a single game so far. Like this is high key excellence right here.
Yeah,
But
very good stuff from them.
I believe that wraps it up for us right now. So, where can the people find you, Sig?
They can find me just about anywhere where the Splatoon community hangs out at Sigdakari, like you don't see at the bottom of your screen right now. SIGDOKARI, whether that's Blue Sky, Discord, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff at Sigdakari. There it is at the bottom of my screen. T, where can the lovely people find you?
Well, you can find me online at Draco Meteor Storm, no O at the end. On Blue Sky, on Discord. Pretty much it. Yeah. Oh, Seed 1 is eliminated.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Spooky Spinner just beat Seed 1 as well. That's going to be crazy for the next few sets, but that will be brought to you by Jason and Pat. So have a lovely day, have fun. They're fantastic, and we'll be watching closely here as well.
And welcome back to Paddling Pool 348. I am Pat with Jason here, ready to watch the lower bracket of this tournament. Jason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you very much, Pat. How are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely great, and I can't wait to watch the rest of this tournament. We're already at the top 4 in the lower bracket semis. This tournament has gone by incredibly fast. These teams want to fight, they're not wasting a second. And we're gonna go with Spooky Spinner going against Messi5 and Vivian and Kiver.
Yeah, a rematch from earlier in the bracket where Messi5 and friends, I believe, managed to sweep Spooky Spinner. So Spooky Spinner will be looking to take their revenge this time around. Spooky Spinner just coming off the back of a big win over the first seed to knock them out in the top 6. That's an absolutely big momentum shift for them. Hopefully they can keep that going into this next map. And speaking of the next map, we've got Rainmaker Scorch. And in the last set, we saw Spooky Spinner run a very interesting comp. They decided to opt for the V-Dapples for the tactical order and the C-Jet for Mist and Inkstorm as more of a stall-out sort of war of attrition type comp. And it didn't really work against Seed 1, but it'll be interesting to see if they can bring it back for this one, right, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, it's about making it work. And especially on Rainmaker, if you're able to get that one push or the second your opponent lowers their guard, you can go very far. But let's get right in the game, Jason, and see how these teams are going to do. Here comes the Dapple, of course, and on the other side, a more classic low-range, mid-range weapons. We're gonna see how they fare.
I'm sure everyone in chat is very confused right now because we've got a custom Hydra Splatling Clara is donning for this set. Already some early pressure out with the Rainmaker Pop, and the Wiper's dead already thanks to Zeke's efforts, and Kaffy is going to get taken down as well. It's 2 down super early, and the Cactus Cooler could be coming out for Spooky Spinner in just a moment's notice as the screen goes up, and they're looking to make a fast push into the enemy's first checkpoint, Pat, and the Booyah's coming out as well.
That's quite the opening by the Spooky Spinner, but they were not able to get the checkpoint, and right now Zeke is kind of surrounded to the side. That's going to be Messi getting back onto mid and getting a few extra splats as well. They're getting control over mid right now. The beacons allow the quick respawn, but Messi5 don't seem to mind. The Rainmaker is going to reset, and right now they have a lot of presence, but Spooky Spinner respawning once again. They're not stopping. They want to go over again. And Clara with the Hydra. Whatever the Splatling, you can never underestimate Clara.
To your right, that is a big pincer on the right-hand side, and the cleanup on the fight behind as well. Control in the favor of Spooky Spinner. They'll probably look for a more slowed approach coming into this next push as the screen comes down on the left. Big trade. Clara takes out the machine, and Kaffy goes down to the hands of Rusty. That squeezer, which we've not seen in recent time as they've most normally been playing Espas. Zeke comes in for the follow-up, combining 3 for 1. It's just Naoto left alive, managing to take out Zeke. Cheap, can they break the checkpoint? They'll get it, but they'll at the cost of their own life. Checkpoint broken, but so much pressure from Spooky Spinner as they try and push this even further. The Wiper's going to put out a hammer and not going to find anyone as Rusty gets out alive. Zeke taken down in their Booyah Bomb, and Rusty looking to keep this fight ongoing on the left side while Cheap is taking things out on the opposite. So many fights happening in so many different directions, and it's just a big stall and a good sort of reset after the high pace that they opted for in the beginning, Pat.
Woo! And Bazooka to shut down the counter push by Messi. Spooky Spinner are riding that momentum, as you were saying before the game, Jason. Right now they have control over mid and they keep going in over and over and over. They do not stop. Trade after trade between these two teams, but every single time Messi are not really able to take enough ground. I don't think we've seen them get any push yet. They haven't gotten a single point yet.
They were able to pop the rain at the beginning of the game after they killed the first push, but it doesn't look like they're getting back into mid because Spooky Spinner aren't letting them. The Hydra is getting set up on this left-hand side every single time, and it's denying so much space, allows the rest of the members of Spooky Spinner to try and push this right side, but Zeke's going to go down early. This is going to cause some problems. Not if Cheaply trades out with the Rainmaker. Rusty's allowed to then take some more space, and on the flank, Kaffy goes down at the hands of Clara. The screen goes up, and the machine is trying, or the Wiper, excuse me, trying their best, but again, another trade. Bazooka from the machine, trying to keep things intact, but it looks like the Spooky Spinner are going to get some more points on the board. A big kill from the left flank as well. Kaffy trying to clean things up, will take out Clara, but Cheap D runs down the points to 39. Would you look at that? Spooky Spinner have extended their lead and made the task all the more difficult for Messi5 and friends. Yeah,
very nice moves right there by the Spooky Spinner, especially since They still have someone shocking around. Okay, it's only going to be a trade, but that's going to slow down the next push by... Oh, wait, Spooky Spinner still going in. Still, they maintain the fight ahead. They know what they want. But finally, it looks like Messi have some control, are going to get the repop, but they have to use their special just to get the repop. They're trying to go in and oh, it's not working, Jason.
It's just not working. Everything that Messi 5 are throwing out right now, Spooky Spinner are prepared for, and they've got full control of this top right side and going into the enemy spawn at this point. Surely they're going to get a push further than 39, but Clara is playing so safe so far back, knowing that Messi 5 need to dive so desperately to get the Rainmaker. Into the Rainmaker free zone she goes, but it doesn't matter. Even though the time is so low, they'll probably just push it into the spawn and call it a day, because with such little time left, Messi 5 really need to get things going. They need to clear this top right side, but look how far back Spooky Spinner are stood in the stall. Neo Wiper is taken out, and it might just be too little too late.
Yeah, Spooky Spinner still around. They have the beacons deployed, but Messi 5 able to clean up and finally score a few points, but there's only 20 seconds left and they have yet to get the checkpoint. They're setting themselves forward and they're gonna get that checkpoint. 10 seconds left. They need the repop, they need the splats right now, and they're able to go in now. They're trying to launch forward, but it's not enough. The Spooky Spinner are going to hold and get game number 1.
What a high octane level of play we saw from Spooky Spinner. As we discussed, straight out of the big upset over the top seeds. Incredible stuff from Spooky Spinner. A slight bit of a scare at the end, where Zeke unfortunately went down on the left side, and Cheap D and Rusty were positioned on the right, trying to stall for Clara and Zeke to, keep hold of that key area where Messi 5 wanted to push. But it was thanks to the efforts of, I believe, the Wiper dived quickly onto Zeke there, got that kill, opened up the space in mid, forced Rusty and Cheap to jump out. That opened up so much space in the mid, gave them practically a free checkpoint, and they almost got away with it as well, because they got a big quick kill even before they broke the checkpoint in the first place on Clara. So that got rid of most of the range for Spooky Spinner in that defense. But luckily for Spooky Spinner, the push just wasn't meant to be for Messi 5, and they were able to defend it quite cleanly.
Yeah, very, very nice plays, as you said. Spooky Spinner very much able to take control for almost all of that game. Only the last 30 seconds were not going their way, and they were still able to shut things down thanks to their lead, thanks to the lead that they had built up. But that means they get game number 1, and because we're on low bracket semis, it's a best of 3. Messi 5 and Vivian and Kiva are right now 1 game away from the end of their tournament run. They need to make it work, but we're going on a map that is a bit more classic, I guess, because it's Barnacle and Dime, for Clan Blitz, of course.
Yeah, definitely one of the classics, at least at this point in the game. It's been around for long enough. Of course, it wasn't here on launch, but still favored map in both zones only and all modes tournaments. But yeah, we're gonna move on to Clams Barnacle, and I think this is where Spooky Spinner are gonna switch back to their more traditional comp, where they normally run the V Heavy over the Hydra. I think we'll see Rusty move back to that S Blast as well, because there's a lot of places for the S Blast to sit on the left and right hand sides of the map, and there's plenty of ledges to sit under. It's pretty good for the S Blast here. I don't see why Rusty wouldn't pick that. Not to doubt his squeezer ability. He's definitely a great squeezer. But I think Spooky Spinner will probably go back to less experimental things. Well, okay, never mind. I've been shut up. They're sticking with their guns.
Yeah, the Hydra is working, the Hydra is staying, and the S Blast is not coming as well. So yeah, I mean, Spooky Spinner, it's been working for them. That comp has given them a control, has given them the lead. Now, they switched back to the Zap, which means they won't have the beacons anymore, which means they can't take as many risks.
Yeah, they can't take as many risks, but a dive from Messi 5 unfortunately gets punished very quickly. That's 3 down. It's just the machine left on the left-hand side, managing to find one, not able to find a second, traded out by Zeke, and Clara was there for the support. Unfortunately, Cheap goes down on aggro play, and so does Rusty on that left stack. The Kraken coming out, a Kraken shot this time. Messi 5 has opted for to take more space and more control and spread out the members of Spooky Spinner, but unfortunately the Kraken doesn't find anything, and Kaffy and Cheap are stuck in a scramble. Rusty comes to help out, cleans up the fight. The screen might be a little far back, but it's not too much of a worry except Zeke, but Zeke hasn't called out the flank on the left-hand side from the Wiper. Can they find Rusty just about in the final moments of that interaction? Chasing Clara now with the ball. Clara turns around and gets the trade out. Zeke trying to hold this top right now. Kaffy taken down. It's just Cheap and Clara to hold this, but it looks like the score is going to be for Messi 5 to open things up.
Yeah, very nice opening of the score. Clara defending with the Hydra, but it's a bit too late. Points have been scored. I say that, but only 26 points for a first push. It's not... I don't think it's what Messi wanted. It's not the best, but it's still points, and we're more than a minute into the game right there. Spooky Spinner, it's their turn to find some control, to get in, and that Kraken that is always going in is not letting them be comfortable in mid.
And Kaffy, even though they didn't get any value from the Kraken again, just ran straight in, got a trade with the burst bomb, and then a second follow-up from the team. Messi 5 coming into full force, just Cheap left alive, managing to trade out the machine, but they've still got all this control on the left side. Such an uphill battle for the side of Spooky Spinner to climb. The Wiper taking a shot on this right hand side, managing to find Cheap D, a big kill, traded out. More stalling from the side of Messi 5. They're going to have to give up stack now, but still, even though they have the lead, they're content with this sort of game where they can sort of just one by one kill the members of Spooky Spinner. Again, more trades, another 2v2 setup. But here we go. We might find some space as Clara finds one clean kill. Not before Kaffy can clean it up. And pops the Kraken as well. Another back to stall we go. Yep. It's always the Kraken at the time you want it least.
Yeah, it's not working very well right now for the Spooky Spinner. Messi 5 are still getting splash after splash, shutting down every effort that the Spooky Spinner are putting in. And right now, Kaffy going in, getting the trade. The rest of the team is down. The Spooky Spinner able to take control of mid finally. But they don't have the clams ready. They need to get some clams before they push. You need clams in this game.
Absolutely right, but they've got the space, and that's probably what they wanted in this moment. But unfortunately, Clara and Zeke are going to go down. Rusty managing to find one on the opposite side, and will unfortunately not be able to make it out. It's just Cheap D left on the stack. Is going to have to force a full back away. Zeke trying to support and keep Cheap alive. One does go down, though. That is the edit down. Did get the cooler out, so they'll be back in soon. The Zuka from Rusty. Unfortunately, he's shielded a bit by the screen, but that's okay because Zeke is running ramp on the right side. Rusty and Cheap tried to take care of Kaffy as Neo Wiper is going in for a flank. They don't have enough clams to score, I don't think. They just need 2 from their teammates. So they'll just play the stalling game by running around in the top left. Unfortunately, does get taken down, and that will give full mid control to Spooky Spinner once more.
Yeah, Spooky Spinner back in mid with nobody behind them. They have a lot of clams. That would be enough to make a super clam if they passed it on. But right now they're forced to dodge another Kraken as Kaffy is still so dangerous. Kaffy is only going to get a trade right here. 2 versus 2 going into the last minute, Jason. Right now the Spooky Spinner are still fighting just to get their spot in mid.
Too right, but a big kill there on the right stack might open things up. They've got to deal with this flank on the left. The machine's been noted. Are they going to choose to engage? Sheep just zoning it out for now, but the kill on the front side is actually going to open up things on the right. As Clara is taking an aggro angle on this right side, is going to opt to run for the basket. Ben will get the score and Cheap, and Clara's going to take the lead with the clams that they have. The Bria Bomb's out and Azuka to work with. Big scores here for the side of Spooky Spinner. Clara won't get out, but Rusty will, and Kaffy is still trying to clear what's left on this left-hand side. I think Cheap is going for another jump with the pitch down. Yes, they will. They'll get the score as well. In the dying moment, Spooky Spinner take the lead, and it's all one big push left in order for Messi 5 to try and keep this game alive.
That super clam in the basket slows down everything on the time on the side of Messi 5. They had to go back to get the super clam. But now they're going in. Oh, very nice splat by Zeke. Zeke going in and shutting things down. Messi right now losing all of their players. Spooky Spinner getting the win. Getting the fight when it matters most.
It almost felt like a polar opposite of the last game where Spooky Spinner were in full control. This entire game, Messi 5 had so much dominance over the mid. Every Kraken was spreading out the opponents and creating space for their teammates to get in. The Wiper was getting in behind. The Machine was getting so many great picks. They were doing everything right until that final moment where Spooky Spinner just ran straight in, ignored all sense of, oh, we need to get kills first. They ran straight for the basket, and Messi 5 didn't realize that. They didn't punish it, and that's what cost them that game.
Yeah, exactly. It's very much like Spooky Spinner found one weakness, and that's all they needed. And again, Messi 5, they didn't get that big push. They had the control for so long. They were able to deny so many actions from Spooky Spinner. They were not able to get that one big push where they took control of the basket. They were missing that, and Spooky Spinner knew that they only needed one push to get the comeback, to get back in there, and they managed to get it, which means they are going to the lower bracket finals.
They are indeed going to the lower bracket finals, where they'll take on Distinct, the other team that took down our top seed earlier in this tournament. We'll see which of these two are the better. We'll find that out soon. What a great set that was from Spooky Spinner. Showed a lot of grit and determination despite being in such a hard situation to begin with. And I'm sure that Messi 5 were looking to deny a second, or deny the revenge match from Spooky Spinner, but just not this time, Pat.
Yep. Not this time, not today. Today it's going to be Distinct versus Spooky Spinner right after the break. And welcome back to Paddling Pool. I am still Pat here with Jason, and we are now in the lower bracket final, which is of course Distinct going against the Spooky Spinner. Let's see how these two teams will do, and it looks like Spooky Spinner are switching back to their regular comp for this Splat Zones game.
Yeah, Distinct are playing with Zun as their substitute today, as opposed to their normal Afro King. And Spooky Spinner are going back to their norm, as I described in the previous set, of their V Heavy and Zap. Distinctly going to be playing their slow, controlled game. And it's not just Sun on the enemy team, it's also Skittles who have joined them on the mini Splatling. So it's a half distinct team we've seen today.
Yep.
They've done very well. They made their way into the winners finals, but they got taken down by Blankset earlier. But some early pressure off the Inkjet and an early zone cap will open up some space for them quite nicely to start things off, Pat.
Yeah, and right now we see both of our teams fighting hard for the zone. Spooky Spinner. Our colors are inverted, by the way. I believe Distinct is in blue, yeah, and Spooky Spinner in yellow. Right now, Distinct not able to hold the zone. Spooky Spinner are going to push in and set themselves in front of the zone, which means now Distinct need to regroup, prepare a push all together.
The bubble from Tiger will set things up into the court, and they're waiting for the other Inkjet from Moosh to come out. The Zuka and the Inkjet popped at the same time. All members of Spooky Spinner are going to retreat off the zone. Rusty playing in the bottom right side. The rest grouping together on the left, taking down Zun early. It's a big kill. They might just be able to keep Zun with this as well. Not before Skittles paints over it first. They got the retake into court and a big kill on the left side from Spooky Spinner. So sort of an eye for an eye in that interaction. But Zone still in favor of Distinct at the moment. The Zuka again from Skittles coming out. Mini gets that Zuka so quickly is going to cause so many problems for the side of Spooky Spinner, as Cheap D is going to have to back away from the range on the right hand side. The Booyah Bomb put onto the right hand side to cover that retreat. Unfortunately, Zun going down again. A second Booyah Bomb from Rusty will put more space into the exact same spot. A Tiger running with the bubble, and what's gone unnoticed? Squish is Clara by Tiger, but not before getting cleaned up by Zeke, and not before Mooj cleans up that as well. All these fights are getting very bloody as this game goes on, Pat.
Yeah, right now, Distinct able to keep the fight on the zone. That's what you want when your opponent has the zone, their color. But they're not able to apply penalty yet. They're still fighting for it, as all of Spooky Spinner are right there. But penalty being applied will allow Distinct to breathe a little bit. We're halfway through the game, Jason. And our two teams are still pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, evenly matched, even though it's slightly in the favor of Spooky Spinner in the points. Rush is going to jump out after seeing. Going to look to re-challenge it in a second, and they will do. Can they find the pick on it? Yes, they will. Tiger's getting taken down as well. It's a 3v2 situation, excuse me. Zeke trying to take out Zun, not before they get comboed with by Skittles. An excellent stall from Zun to keep things alive. Will now finally get taken down, but that's the lead for Distinct, and 3v3 it is. They've got to get the zone flip quick and move forward with the Booyah Bomb. It will land on the left-hand side. One goes down, that's the roll down again, and through goes Rusty in to get two more.
Yeah, very nice team fight by Spooky Spinner right there. They lost the lead, but they don't have that much penalty, and right now they're pushing in, getting control, establishing themselves so far up in away from the zone. That's what they want. Distinct are going back in. Their Tiger is going to die in the bubbler, allowing Mooj to cap the zone. The lead has been taken once again. The Distinct has the zone. Oh, well, no, the Spooky Spinner has taken back the zone already.
Yeah, I think Rusty being behind enemy lines there sort of caught the attention and sort of just froze Distinct for a moment. I think in that moment, Spooky Spinner capitalized, managed to take the zone away. The Booyah Bomb going out into court, and the Zuka from Skittles to respond. And that's one down early. That's Cheap D already down, but a Booyah Bomb from Zeke is going to stall a bit more. The penalty points go away, and more points will be scored for Spooky Spinner. They'll like this a lot. And Rusty's going in onto the boat once more. Not able to find it on this occasion, but so many more points this stalling has done. And Rusty managing to get a pick. Traded is Clara by the second Zuka from Skittles. And Zeke goes down as well. Finally, the zone will flip. So much chaos on either end, but Distinct find their way on top. And they've got little penalty again. Surely this time they'll take the lead and have it for good with such little time left.
Yeah, we're in the last minute, and Spooky Spinner are doing what they need, getting the splats to not let Distinct be comfortable on the zone. The Booyah Bomb is coming. Distinct will not be able to get to the zone right away. But with two down onto the Spinner, Distinct still has an opportunity to get some control right there. They need to push in. They need to paint right now. Only 20 seconds left.
20 seconds left. Injects out, bubble out as well. That's two specials out and 2 on 1 down. The S-Blast has been taken down. That's the aggro pressure for the moment taken away. But Clara trades it out, and a Booyah Bomb from Zeke is surely going to seal things in just a moment. The Zuka is going to find nothing. The Booyah Bomb comes out from Zeke, but S-Blast has gone down once more. Roller tries to make that way through. Tiger is taken down, and the zone surely is going to be flipped. Not if Skittles and Moose can hold it together. Over G, we hit 4. No way. The penalty points are still going. Surely someone's going to find some kills. Rusty trying their best. But
And
Zone
they're
is
still
going to get
fighting.
traded.
Distinct not stopping, and Mouge is above, getting an extra splat, they're not stopping. What a comeback by Distinct!
How on earth? It felt like that Spooky Spinner had the tools to make the victory, but the painters on the backline stood strong, kept the zone, allowed their fighters to get back in and cause some damage, and put a wrench inside of Spooky Spinner's plans. Distinct will take our first game.
I mean, Distinct, they sent their 52 gal ahead of the zone to fight, to deny the paint. It worked by a hair, and then the rest of the team was there to keep the fight going. Beautiful, beautiful comeback by Distinct. And Spooky Spinner, they had control of the pace of the game for most of the time because they put themselves in front of that zone. And Distinct was not really able to set themselves up in these forward positions. That cost them for the most of the game. But hey, if you're able to win the final fight, you're able to win.
Absolutely. Incredible stuff from Distinct, and a big first game for them to win as well, coming off the back of their winners finals loss against Blanks. It's good that they've kept their momentum after the long wait, and we'll see how our friends at Spooky Spinner will respond as we go back to Rainmaker Humpback. I think this is definitely a big sort of game for Spooky Spinner to win, because I think the way Distinct like to play the sort of stally sort of game plan with their sub weapons and their special output. I think it really favors them over Spooky Spinner. So Spooky Spinner have got to cook something up if they want to keep this game 1-1, or keep the set 1-1 rather.
Spooky Spinner need to shut down Tiger, because if Tiger goes around, shacks around with the roller on Humpback Pump Track, the roller is such a danger. You cannot let the roller be comfortable. So that's the challenge for Spooky Spinner. Right there, they can't let the roller be comfortable, and of course, because it's Rainmaker, if you blink once, if you let your opponent get some control, it's over. But Spooky are going to bring the Dapples for here. I like to see the Dapples, especially on such a big map. Having beacons all around the map can serve you well.
Yeah, Dapples, and this time we've got the Kraken Heavy coming out from Clara this time. We're getting to see all the splat links today, save for the edit, which was on the other team, on Messi 5, which we saw in the set earlier. Clara is going to look to try and find Mooj early, unfortunately, not able to find it. It's in a bit of a pinch, so it's going to have to back away. But the cleanup in mid has been achieved, a big win to start things off for Spooky Spinner. Unfortunately, Zeke will go down early. They break the checkpoint, and it's a great start, and they put the Kraken out as well. This could extend the push, not if Rusty goes down in mid. Managing to find one is Clara with the Kraken, not able to find the second, and might just get punished on the recall. Not quite, but the bubble is out from Sal as well. I think that is mid reclaimed for Distinct.
Yeah, it's a nice opening by the Spooky Spinner. They got the checkpoint, and getting the checkpoint early, even if you don't get more points, that's still good. Now the Rainmaker is back into mid, and the Spooky Spinner are back in control. Jason, right now the Spooky Spinner are doing what they need to do very much. Not letting Distinct be comfortable in mid. That's what they need, and now they're back to the same spot with the Rainmaker in hand and looking for a way in.
Yeah, with the Kraken through. The miss is put down in front of the checkpoint and managing to stop some of the points going through. And it's just Zun left alive on the platform. Rusty's going to go for the kill while Clara goes for the rain. Rusty playing ahead and will drop away eventually, but gets taken down by Nezuka. A great shot by Zun, looking to find a second, perhaps not quite. Maybe a regrab of the rain to stall things for longer, but no. Spooky Spinner will opt to reset the Rainmaker into mid once more. Will prefer to keep things controlled for now.
Yeah, Rainmaker is going to go back into mid right now, and Spooky Spinner not letting go of their control of mid. They know that that's a great victory condition for Rainmaker, and look at that, 2 down on Distinct. Spooky Spinner back on the attack.
Yeah, and here comes the Kraken. Surely Cheap
Yep.
D will follow through with that, with the paint, but not before the miss. Toxic Miss comes out in the right spot at the right time. Will deny some points, but Clara will take down, but not before Mooj gets taken down as well. That's the Toxic Miss gone. The hammer, not going to find one. The Booyah going to paint some more. The second Booyah going to kill Sal as well, as Cheap D walks all the way through for 18 points, Pat.
Huge move right there by Spooky Spinner, but Distinct almost out of the woods. Zeke still here to fight. The Rainmaker is going to go back to Min in the meantime and chew down. Very nice moves by Mooj right there. Mooj is going to be shut down by Clara, saving that checkpoint for now for the Spooky Spinner.
How on earth did that happen? The Rain Sword just got away scot-free with getting a double there. Like, Spooky Spinner, we've got to relax a bit. We've got a big push in. We don't need to give up this checkpoint here just yet. And the Kraken will do a good job of that. Not before someone else takes care of the Rain. The Kraken might not even have been necessary. More so just to sort of corrode people out of the bubble slowly, excuse me. Great use of the Kraken to spread out the members of Distinct and keep things at a big lead for, oh my goodness, a big lead, but for how much longer is Zunzuka managing to find the Rainmaker? A lucky pot shot, we'll call it, but fair play.
The Rainmaker is an annoying spot to keep pick back up though. Chew down on to Spooky Spinner, but Distinct needs to take control over mid, and they know there are these beacons in their way. Zun able to get some cleanup, able to get control of the the checkpoint right there, and with that splat on Clara, there's an alleyway onto that checkpoint. Distinct only needs to go forward, and that Chip is behind, is going to stop things every single time. Distinct gets slowed down, Jason. Oh,
Yeah, Zuka and Bubble out. Surely that's gonna not quite. The Booyah well placed, denies some bit of space. Sal unfortunately gives up their life moving forward. They'll only get the checkpoint. Not even getting the checkpoint. Are Distinct. The Kraken pushes the Rain to one side and Rusty deals with it on the other, denying that checkpoint with such little time left. A big defense from Spooky Spinner. They're just going to stall it for as long as they can. Another Booyah Bomb is going to come out from Rusty, surely to stall things even further. And Zeke gets away with their life. And it looks like Rusty is cooler, trying to find that kill. We'll be back from the respawn with that Booyah Bomb. Can deny more space. And with the double Booyah setup, it's looking like Spooky Spinner should take this game. But as I say that, I might speak too soon for a second time. Excuse me. The Rainmaker does break checkpoint, but is paid for with their life. Cheap D trying to deny the bubble from Tiger, managing to find one and keep things through, but hold up, I might have spoken too soon again, Pat.
it's never over until it's over. 5 seconds left. Distinct needs a push in overtime, but they have a Rainmaker. They are going in. The first Booyah Bomb is coming already, and there won't be a second Booyah Bomb. The Kraken is thrown by Clara. That Kraken could be the end of the game. It is. Spooky Spinner ties up the score.
Yeah, very different game plan we saw from Spooky Spinner there, opting to take a more patient approach and focus less on winning those interactions and getting in behind. Although there were those 1 and 2 moments where the beacons weren't taken care of, and the Dapple from Cheap did capitalize on that. But for the most part, they played a more slowed down game. They waited for Distinct to sort of, use their utility, their special weapons. Waited for the bubble to get set up and be like, okay, the bubble's here. We know you want to move into it. Well, let's put the Booyah Bomb behind it. Let's spread out your team. So if they're in the bubble, they're forced to play forward, and if they're not in the bubble, they're split from the rest of their team. It's a great way of displacing the members of Distinct, because when Distinct are together, they get stuff done. But when they're split up, they struggle like this, because you can see here another Booyah Bomb that separates the Zuka and the Roller, and allows that pathway for Cheap to get more points in.
Yeah. And I mean, these Krakens that Clara showed us were always on point. I feel like we're always able to disrupt things, and especially that defense by Clara just did not allow Distinct to get the checkpoint right there. I think that was a beautiful game by all of Spooky Spinner, who were really able to take control of the ground to deny Distinct's way in. Distinct managed to find the way in, but it was a bit too late, which meant one last Kraken stopped them in their tracks. We are now 1-1 between these two teams. We wouldn't want it any other way. We want to see more games. And now we're going to go to Macomart on Tower Control, Jason.
Yep, on to Tower Control we go on Mako Mart. I'm honestly not too sure what to think of this next map. I feel like both teams have shifted around their comps in some way or another to fit the map mode they're playing on. But honestly, I can't really can't really think of what Spooky Spinner might try to run, or let alone Distinct. I think maybe Distinct will shift back to their Inkjet and their Zuka Mini from before, or maybe they'll use the Bubble Mini to get a double Bubble comp going, or they might pivot Sal onto something else. They've got so many options, so many things to do. Once you know the players, you know what they're like, and yeah, they could really go for anything, Pat. So I think we'll just leave this one up to them. I don't think I'll throw out any predictions here.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to predict anything because the game's about to start, Jason, and we can see with our eyes what these two teams decide to bring. I'm not surprised to see the S-Blast coming back for tower control here. That's going to be an absolutely key weapon. There are so many good angles for any blaster, and of course the S-Blast is especially king these days. Right now, we have a splash that is being brought by Distinct.
That Zun is, instead of playing the 52 Gal, which worked for them before, is going for the splash. It's already 2 down on both sides, I believe. The cooler will favor Spooky Spinner for now. Zeke will take the flank, and players are marked on the wave breaker that came out so early. Is Zeke managing to find anything? Yes, we'll get one on the flank. Tiger is now frantically sloshing away, trying to find out where Zeke has gone, but Zeke is just going on a mad tear behind, and the clean-up, the follow-up from the members of Spooky Spinner, playing off of Zeke's aggression, will open up the space for Spooky Spinner as they'll take the lead, and a big kill on Skittles. That's the Zuka down. They'll be relying on Crab for this retake this time, not before Rusty can get another Booyah Bomb on this left side to stall it even further, but the bow is doing enough pressure to keep out for now. Booyah Bomb from Zeke. Have they noticed the roller drop? Cheap D has noted it and is shooting away at it. The roller's trying to find any kind of life hold in this sort of pit area of the map, is managing to find Cheap, but only the trade. Clara will go back onto the tower, will pop the wave break, use it as a shield to dance around Zun, and Zeke is back in support and is taken down. Spooky Spinner are running away with this game. Skittles finally gets a Zuka, but all the members of Spooky Spinner are just going to hide away from it.
Yeah, and right now Spooky Spinner are going to get past the second checkpoint. They are not stopping, and Rusty still going in. Another Booyah Bomb deployed as Spooky Spinner now in the last points on the last ride are so close to the last checkpoint as well, and are going to get on it.
Beautifully done from Spooky Spinner, cleaning up their 1v1 so well, and when the team fights are necessary, they're taking them. Cheap D supporting from the mid, making sure no flanks get through, is going to stall things for now and hold down the mid and cast their team back in, but not if Rusty wants to keep fighting. Rusty's saying we should keep going. Rusty wants to get moved. She wants to get involved as well, but all members of Spooky Spinner want to keep going. More points, only 12 they will get. Zeke's still alive, is going to get rid of Mooge. How on earth have they gotten away with that? Thank God that got cleaned up as fast as it did. That could have gotten dicey.
Yeah, Spooky Spinner just grabbing a few points, taking a bit more time and stress off of Distinct. Distinct now bringing the tower back into mid, forced to use their specials just to stay in mid right there. And the big question is, can they go through the first checkpoint? I mean, 2 down onto Spooky Spinner. This could be Distinct's turn to get some points going.
You're absolutely right. That's both of the Booyah Bombs taken out. And unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get anything going until the second checkpoint, but not before their cooler goes down as well. I think they managed to put it down and spawn before, so they'll be back soon. Rusty managing to find Sal and can't find Skittles. Zeke trying to drop him from support. Zun and Skittles will fight together and forcing one to jump out. Cheap D is dropping back into the midfield to try and get rid of Zun once more. Skittles is going to go down on the tower, and Sal's back in, but not before a Booyah Bomb is popped from Spooky Spinner, shredded, but not enough. A quick cleanup from Spooky Spinner, realizing that if they just dive, they can get stuff done, apparently. They don't need the special weapons. Just the cooler will do, thank you very much.
Yeah, cooler is so dangerous. It can do so much right now, though. It's Distinct still getting a bit more ground, a bit more control. 3 down onto Spooky Spinner as Distinct are going to re-grab the tower and try to get another push going.
We'll try getting another push going, but this time they've got the Booyah Bomb to deal with the bubble, and Sal's going to get taken down for it. That's not what you want to see. You want to make sure your roller's alive to get rid of these flanks on the Sharks and things like that. Not before Rusty is going to take rid of Mooge. And it's just the 2 support shooters left on the side of Distinct. Zun is going to try and get some aggression going, but is spotted out and will have to back away. A brilliant defense once again from Spooky Spinner. Sal is down again. It's looking rough. Skittles is going to get punished in the Zuka, unaware of the flank from the left alley. And it's looking like Spooky Spinner are going to run away with game number 3, Pat.
Yeah, right now, there's still a minute left, Jason. There's still a minute left. Distinct are not done. They're fighting for their presence in mid, and with 2 down onto Spooky Spinner, they'll have their way back onto the tower. Look at that Tiger already tapping it for a bit of special, a bit of extra passive special, and right now, all of this thing trying to go in, not able to win the fight though. They have to move back, and with 20 seconds, it's Spooky Spinner that are touching the tower once again. It's looking more and more dire for Distinct.
Yeah, and 4 specials. The cooler was just popped. Rusty's going to go down with it, and so is Clara. The wave hang-ons might have been wasted. Gun is trying to save this game, but Cheap D stands tall. Not if it's traded out, but they've still got 2 BR bombs to work with. Surely this must be over for Spooky Spinner. They've got GG times 2. They'll use one of them now to put some pressure on the tower, and the second one is being held by Rusty, and it's not enough. It is over for Distinct in this game. The GGs were available and it was used perfectly. What more could you want to put Spooky Spinner on match point?
I mean, after this big push that Spooky Spinner got at the start of the game, they knew all they needed to do was to defend. They knew they didn't need to take extra risks, and it wasn't Distinct to take the risks, and the risks were hard to take against Spooky Spinner, a team that was constantly running circles around them, going around, getting splats left and right. Distinct not able to get their victory right here, not able to get their comeback. That's 2-1 for Spooky Spinner. Spooky Spinner now only need to win 1 more game, Jason.
Yeah, that's right. 1 more game for Spooky Spinner, and I'm calling back to this play where Rusty decided that no, I want to keep going, and the rest of the team followed suit. I was a bit confused. I thought that they would, stick to their game plan where they, got the push in and they'd control the mid once more. But I guess I was wrong. Spooky Spinner wanted to fight, and it paid off. They got those extra 3 points, and they kept shutting down every opportunity that Distinct wanted to use their specials. They put them out, they lived them, they put the cooler down, they ran back in and fought. It was brilliant stuff from Spooky Spinner. It looks like they've got Distinct's game plan down to a T, and they're playing very well around it.
Yeah, very, very well played. And now we're going to Clam Blitz on Scorch Gorge, a map that we know Spooky Spinner like to fight on, as we've seen them do so in the semi-final. So it's on Distinct to really find a way to counter them right here. They'll have more sightlines, but yeah, they need to be able to stop Spooky Spinner, because right now Spooky Spinner has been the team to look out for.
Absolutely. And now it's on Distinct to see how they'll adjust. They took the first game in pretty good fashion. They look very comfortable. I think if they want to keep things going, I think putting Zun back onto the 52 gal might be the answer, because they had the stalling. I think the stalling and the supporting cast from Mooj and Skittles was perfect with the Inkjet bow and the Zuka mini. I think that was the right call, but I think Zun should be on a more aggressive shooter to make up for that. And here we are. There it is, the 52 that I was looking for. Now they've got the aggressive pair they need in the roller and the 52, and it's a Gambit as well. So Zun is going to be going fully in. Hopefully, we'll see this on the opening.
Yep, that's going to be an attack, immediate fight between these two teams, and already Bazooka coming from the midi. That is a big move, but it's not going to find its mark right here. Spooky Spinner and Distinct looking at each other, dancing around. I think we have, connection issues.
Uh-oh.
It happens. Yeah, and I'm getting notified, but it's not just us. It seems like it was a lobby crash.
Yeah, unfortunate as it is, we'll have to wait for a bit longer. But there we go. That was a nice. I think it still looked like a good opening for Distinct this time, because despite Skittles not getting any value out of the Zuka at the start and not being able to find a kill, I think Zun was able to activate their Gambit. So I think it turned out all right for Distinct at the start there. I think Spooky Spinner were aware of the Zuka, but not quite aware of how quickly Zun would move into that bottom right area, and were stalling for quite the long time there.
Yeah. Things. Okay, things are being weird on Sendu Inc. Apparently, one roster was reported wrong. Azun was not reported as being on there, I think. So, but it's it is fixed. Yeah, a bit of technical issues being solved, but we should make the lobby. And yeah, I can't wait for us to get back into there. But yeah, as you were saying, Distinct were able to get a good opening, were able to get in the fight the way they wanted to. On the side of Spooky Spinner, it was pretty even, yet teams were very much like... there was a pretty even fight on both sides, so I'm really looking forward to see what happens next in the game, provided all players can get back in the lobby, I hope.
Yep, we hope indeed. But I guess we can look back on the rest of the tournament and how it's been so far. Of course, the big note being our top seed being taken down so early in that top 6 at the hands of Spooky Spinner, who are still here, making their lower bracket run of a lifetime. But we haven't been able to talk about Blanks a lot because they're waiting in our winner's side in grand finals, Pat. And
yeah,
they've very frequently turn up to these weeklies and make very deep runs. They've got very many top 3s and top 2s as well. Yeah. I think there's one victory in there, but they're always hunting for more. It'll be interesting to see which one of these two teams. Do you think the Distinct will be able to mount a comeback and then use that momentum like Spooky Spinner did before? Like use the momentum off of the big win and sort of use that to hopefully force a bracket reset, because I think we don't want to see a bit of that.
I mean, right there, Blanks would like to see Distinct again, I think, because they beat them 3-0 on the winners bracket finals, and they've been very much happy to see the Distinct. The big question is, of course, Spooky Spinner have been creating the surprise over and over and over, so we'll see if they're able to spoil the surprise once more and qualify for the grand finals. But right now, it's all in their hands. One thing for sure is Blanks are looking very, very nice right now. This is looking like it's their week finally where they can get their crown. We'll see if they manage to, but right now we need to focus on the lower bracket finals still, where we're waiting for news from our players, who I don't see a lobby yet, and I'm scared.
Yeah, I'm just in awe at.
Yeah,
I think we're missing a few gifs on the stream. I don't know. It feels a bit empty up at the top. I feel like we could do with a little addition. I don't know if we've got anything stored up in the files that we can put on there, but I could do with a bit more decoration. Oh, there we go. Dude 6-7. Yeah, that's exactly what I needed. I needed Dude 6-7 in my life.
Yeah, and okay, teams are talking in chat. It looks like one player on the side of Spooky Spinner might have like trouble getting their internet back. But the room should be up. We should have something going.
Yeah, hopefully we can get that sorted. I don't want to point any fingers, but if there's anyone who's having troubles with internet, it might be Cheap D. I don't know what gives me that impression, but
It wasn't
Notori-
Cheap D, but
It wasn't. Okay. Well, I want to tell the story anyway. Notoriously, Cheap D has been a very, very interesting fella over in terms of like when you play against people who have got like bad internet, you sort of just look past it. If like sometimes it's playable, sometimes it's unbearable. But this guy, Cheap D, wow, this guy, he unlocked new powers never seen before. He could dash across the map in seconds, and you wouldn't be able to catch him. You'd blink, and he'd be gone. It's a wonderful thing. He's got special powers, and like I don't know, maybe he might unlock some of them today. I don't think he'll use the ones that are cheating, but I think he'll definitely cause some big damage going into the next game. Because he's very skilled. He's very skilled, but despite being on an NZAP, he plays incredibly aggressive. And I think in the meta nowadays, that's what you want. You can't afford to be sitting back and sort of playing passive. That's what you want out of your NZAPs nowadays. And I think Cheap D does that to a great degree, and it's gotten Spooky Spinner a lot of big results recently, similar to Distinct. Namely, they won the Gauntlet. That's what it was. Spooky Spinner won Gauntlet. Very nice achievement from them, and they're still going strong, making a top 3 in another open level weekly. They're looking good, Pat. They're looking very good.
Yep. Well, we're gonna get back into the game, Jason. We are finally ready for game number 4, take number 2, as our teams are ready to fight once again. As that's Distinct and Spooky Spinner are finally all in the lobby, and I guess that's all we got to say. All everybody press A. Like we have the weapons already. We can't find weapons anyway. Why are you waiting? Let's get in the game.
You sound like my teammates during scrims.
I'm your teammate during scrim. I want the game.
Well. Instead of Skittles, we've seemed to have substituted Skittles for Pat Tom 67.
I will not acknowledge that.
Right, back to the restart. 2-1 to Spooky Spinner. Can they finish out the set, or will Distinct bring this to a game number 5? A slower opening coming out from Spooky Spinner, taking note of that gambit on the Gal. Rusty still wants to get involved a bit though. He swapped to the Missile Pro this time instead of the S-Blast. I'm not sure too much on the reason for that change. I think they want the missiles to, clear out the bow and the roller, perhaps just for some location and some displacement. But Zoom's going to go down early here. They've stopped the Gambit, which is already a big change for Spooky Spinner, and the roller's going to get taken down as well. The Jet is going to try and stall things out. Mooj trying to find somebody. Cheap D will go down in the end, and Rusty's going to get chipped with the Zuka. Maybe a third, not before Clara pops the Kraken to reverse sort of the battle going on with specials here. Clara will pick up the ball, but it seems that Distinct are slowly crawling their way back into mid.
Yeah, and that was good control by Spooky Spinner, but Mooj with the jetpack was able to stop things and save the game for Distinct. Right now, two teams are just looking at each other, waiting for a mistake on each side. Clara holding the side with that heavy splatling. And we're still watching. Both of these teams have a super clam. Both of these teams have control of their side of the map, and are simply waiting to have enough specials, enough of an advantage so that they can push forward. But right now, Distinct with 2 super clams, that might be too much. Like you can't be very stealthy with a super clam.
You're right, you can't. And despite being cooled, which removes some of that stealth, the Kraken's going to make its way through. That's what I was saying. The Kraken is going to not be able to find Skittles. Skittles might be able to get away with their life, but not before all of these scores go in for Spooky Spinner. Rusty is just cowering behind the bottom right wall. Make sure the bow can't chip them, trying their best to keep things alive for the moment. But yeah, despite being cooled, Cheeky was sharking behind the wall, which means that there was zero visibility from the enemy team unless they were stood like all the way in their plat, and that's not where they wanted to be in that situation. So Cheap D taking advantage of the stealth and Mooj wanting to take some space. Fortunately, Mooj is outranging Cheap at the moment, so we'll break him to back away. Call a put down for the side of Spooky Spinner, and I'll look to refight soon. Whale's going to come out from Distinct, not in combination with the Jet. Hang on, I thought running in behind was one, but not quite. Wait, and a jump out as well. There's a lot going on, and sort of don't really know what to focus on. But it seems that things have remained exactly the same, somewhat.
Yeah, lots of fights left and right. At the end of the day, all teams are fighting for mid, but Clara going in with the Kraken is going to create some chaos. Distinct Tiger activating the bubbler is going to slow down any push from the Spooky Spinner and allow Distinct to get back in mid. Now Distinct were able to save their Super Clam, and right now they still have some ground, but they lost 2 players. They'll have to move back and wait a little bit more as the Spooky Spinner are already back on the attack.
Yeah, and I like that play earlier, despite Tiger getting the bubble set up in that mid sort of area. It was after the bubble was out, realizing that they needed to reposition. It was then that Rusty backed up and popped the missiles to keep the location on the roller to in knowledge, in information circulation for the rest of the team, and that weeded out the roller, pushed them back into a fightable position for Spooky Spinner, and that cleared them out, and that helped them get set up on the right side. But unfortunately, they didn't manage to get a score in. They've got lots of clans to work with, but not a lot of space.
Yeah, right there. Distinct just used 2 of their specials just to retake control of their basket area. That is a lot of effort, and Distinct just lost 2 players once again. But Spooky Spinner going under the basket and reopening it. Very nice push. Zeke's too dense. Zeke, how are you alive? What
God knows
play!
how Zeke is alive, not punished by the members of Distinct, and Rusty is cycling clams into the hands of Clara to keep the basket open. They'll break the penalty and keep the scores going. It's looking so dire for Distinct. Azuka to desperately get rid of Zeke, but not before it's traded out, and Rusty with 7 clams is trying to jump in. Unfortunately, didn't make. The Pitsy is going to miss one, but it doesn't matter too much. They want to wear the jump in. Big scores from Rusty. 22 to beat for Distinct with 30 seconds to go, Pat.
Yeah, this is looking pretty rough for Distinct. They need to mount a push. They only have 1 push to get 80 points, and right now they have 21 clams for the whole teams. That's already a lot, but they need to get under the basket, and they don't have the tools to do so. Wooge is kind of stuck right there as they have the bubbler not too far from the basket. 2 down on Spooky Spinner. Wait! We still have a push. Bazooka is from Tiger going in.
They have 4 clams. They have 4 clams.
The basket.
They
have the clams. The basket. Oh, they have it. Distinct is alive.
Well and truly they are. What on earth happened at Camp Spooky Spinner? Set up so nicely in the top right, punishing the gal so early, but letting the roller go in. A little crack in the defense that they were playing so well for this entire set up until that moment. And Distinct capitalized. Tiger got through, popped the bubble, then allowed the jet to circulate. And what I thought was the best thing about that play was Skittles there in that moment. I thought that they were just going to run in off of the bubble, but no, they chose to wait out the full overtime timer, get Azuka out, despite holding the ball, got Azuka out, managing to find a pick as well, keeping the members of Spooky Spinner at a numbers disadvantage for that whole entire OT push. And before you knew it, there was no space left for Spooky Spinner to work with, no specials either. And Distinct had all the clams to work with, and they just walked in for free.
I mean, we've seen Spooky Spinner be in control of 4 games. We've seen 4 games, and each of these 4 games, Spooky Spinner was the team that was winning. But twice now, Distinct has mounted a crazy comeback. And really, that's the clutch factor that a team like Distinct is able to have. When it matters the most, they win 1 fight, and they're able to make that 1 fight count. They're able to make that 1 fight be the fight that decides the whole game. And now, Jason, we are going back to Splat Zones. We are going back to Barnacle and Dime to decide which team is going to go to Grand Finals.
That is exactly right. We are on our final map, Barnacle and Dime. It's going to be very tough. This is a very tight-knit map with a lot of close quarters combat. I would expect this one to be quite brutal in terms of the fighting power. I think that sort of style does favor Spooky Spinner on paper. But when we look at the way Distinct have been playing, with how they're so patient and just waiting for sort of these dives from Spooky Spinner to take place, and then they're just on them, and they're slowly chipping away at what Spooky Spinner has in terms of the defenses, I think Distinct might have a slight edge overall. But we'll have to see as we go into our last game.
I mean, from what we've seen, like, Distinct are better when they're down. They're better when they're at a disadvantage. So let's see how they will
Big
do.
swing.
And it's a big swing roller that is brought by Tiger. I guess they'll have the paint at least.
They sacrificed the bubble for the splashdown. With a small map like this, I don't hate the idea, but I feel like at least with the bubble you can absorb one of the Booyah Bombs from the side of Spooky Spinner, but not before Rusty has anything to say about it. Cheap D will go down from the Zuka, but Rusty finding one in turn. The bow's gone down, so there's a lot of range pressure for the side of Distinct out for the moment. Zone is going to pop on a flank to take out the Kraken from left. It's splashdown incoming from Sal, not going to find anything, but survives the Booyah Bomb, luckily, and is still sticking around, trying to stay alive. Zeke is going to punish this, not before the Zuka from Skittles. What? Another Booyah Bomb is going to take out the rest of the team. It's just Mooch left on the zone, and surely Spooky Spinner are going to try and walk forward into this bow before they get any jumps in. The cooler will go out from Cheap D. And the members of Distinct will stay up for now, and the Inkjet in the nick of time will come out from Mooch, pushing Zeke away. Clara trying to zone out the gal on the right-hand side. So much happening, but no true value just yet.
Yeah, and right now Distinct and Spooky Spinner fighting for the zone. Both teams around, neither team really pushed away. Another splashdown on the zone. It's not going to cap. As Spooky Spinner are taking a lot of space, and Rusty going in with the S-Blast. That's 2 down on Distinct. That's going to be Distinct pushed away completely from the zone, and now Spooky Spinner are going to get the lead, are going to score a lot of points, Jason.
Yeah, and I believe they've got an early BR setup already, looking for that splashdown. It's taken down. Tiger will get punished, and Zeke will get traded for that play, and that's big money because it's just the Zuka to work with on this retake, and it's already been popped, and the Inkjet to follow. Rusty's all over it. It's going to take it down. Surely Spooky Spinner are in full control. Tiger's trying to get splashdown. Will waste it. It's not on the zone. It's been cancelled as well. The Kraken is going to keep things alive. 1 down for the side of Spooky Spinner, excuse me. Zone trying to find the S-Blast, won't find it. There's no paint on the zone. It's just Sal trying their hardest. Clara will go down, but it's too little, too late. Spooky Spinner will make their way to the grand final.
Hey, that's how you deny a comeback. You get the KO. You don't let that Distinct team get comfortable, create the surprise. Spooky Spinner able to shut things down, and I mean that's barnacle and dime for you. If you're able to really take that big control to push the other team away, it takes a lot of time to come back, Jason.
Right, you are, and it was such a nice play from Zeke there in that moment where they recognized that the splashdown was the big threat at the moment. They knew the Zuka was coming, but they'd played around it so well this entire set. They were just waiting for that one moment where Distinct would get desperate in their retake, where they wouldn't wait until the right moment. They'd get a little desperate. That's exactly what happened. Tiger was noted very early here. Zeke managing to punish it so quickly, and then the Zuka from Skittles not being able to find anything in that moment, as we're about to see. And then Rusty on this hold on the left, combined with the Kraken from Clara, denying all that space, keeping the members of Distinct off of the zone when they needed it most. And just like that, everything was played to a T from Spooky Spinner, and that a well fought game and a well deserved game and a well deserved ticket to the final set of the tournament, Pat.
Yes, we have an appointment with Grand Finals. It's going to be right after the break. Of course, it will be Spooky Spinner going against Blanks. And we're back. It is now time for the grand finals of this Paddling Pool 348. I am Pat here with Jason, ready to watch our top 2 teams. On the one side, Blanks, the team that hasn't dropped a single game so far. On the other hand, Spooky Spinner, the lower bracket terror, coming to face our seed number 2 of the tournament.
Seed number
Mason?
2 against the third. It is not going to be the top seed we've seen in most weeklies that we watch when it comes to Paddling Pool. And guess who took them down? It was Spooky Spinner. And that's the concern for me, because Blanks didn't see them at all in the bracket going into winners finals. I'm sure they were quite happy for that. Very happy that they saw Distinct rather than the top dogs. But that's where my concern is, because Spooky Spinner have beaten, I feel, the more worrisome teams in this tournament. And again, it's just that momentum factor I keep coming back to. With each win, I feel like Spooky Spinner are only going to get more hungry and more aggressive and more ready to win. And I feel like Blanks are going to have to see if they can use this time to sort of settle into this set. If they've been on a long break from the winner's side, they've really got to try and get themselves into gear before it's too late, Pat.
Yeah. And one thing Spooky Spinner can rely on is the fact that they have a bit more range than Blanks right here, which should allow them to take the games a bit more to their advantage, especially on Barnacle Dime, a map that is kind of flat and very good for the weapons that have the most range. Between that heavy splatling and of course the Stamper, they have the ability to take fights before Blanks can shoot at them. And right now, everybody's dying left and right! But Blanks doesn't mind that much. They have their Super Clam and they are going in. Wait, no, they're forced out.
Yeah, Hugo the Junior there. Thought that the opening was there, realised Clara was still up. Reslide open from Golde will get rid of the threat in front, but not before it's cleaned up by the 2 fighters, Zeke and Rusty. The Booyah Bomb double act, and one of them is being popped to keep this surge into mid going. They're going to use it on the left stack. Unfortunately, Rusty gets taken down by the Tetra Dualies. Zeke trying to follow up, managing to find it, and held off on the right side is the Edit, playing in a very aggressive line there. Will back away in the end. And it looks like the Spooky Spinner will have mid for the most part, not before that bubble gets set up on the stack and is going to cause some hair raises a bit, I suppose, for Spooky Spinner. Actually, never mind. I didn't see on the camera quite. But the Junior's gone down and they've got all the space because they managed to find another pick on the bottom left.
Spooky Spinner has the speed, Spooky Spinner has the strength, and right now Spooky Spinner have the Super Clam jumping towards the basket. That's going to be an opening of the basket for them. Now, big question is how many points can they get already? They have a few clams going in, and Zeke is going to keep the basket open. That is very important. As Blanks is struggling, Blanks is getting splatted in their spawn, not able to defend.
Yeah, and then the flank from the Tetra Dualies has been taken down as well. It's all to look, it's all focusing on front. Oh, that was the, sorry, that wasn't the Tetra. There's the Tetra. But the flank on the right hand side was on the snipe, and then the Booyah Bomb pushed them into that awkward spot and dealt with perfectly by the members of Spooky Spinner. They keep getting these scores in slowly but surely. And a big stall from Rusty, and the weakened Tetra on the second dive isn't going to find anything. The Edit's been weakened as well. It's all in the hands of Spooky Spinner, and somebody jumps in. Chief D is looking at them and is going to opt for the clams and hope the team cleans things up. But unfortunately, is going to make the wrong choice there. Could have perhaps kept the game going in their favor and perhaps ended it early. Is going to opt to back away and put the cooler on stack and go back to that mid stall. Is what Chief D is opting for.
What a first push. 89 points scored by Spooky Spinner right there. Big points that they managed to get. Blanks. Now they have 2 minutes to mount a comeback, to mount a big push, and I mean, Blanks was the favorite going into this game, but right now, as you were saying, it's Spooky Spinner riding their momentum, riding the energy they've had all night, and Blanks is struggling just to establish themselves in mid, as Spooky Spinner are going for every single fight.
Yeah, and there it is, Chibi again, backing away in the end. A great skirmish, despite being on as what we consider a support weapon in this economy. But again, that just goes to show that they're still full of confidence. Everyone wants to take these fights. Rusty is still going forward. No matter what, the BR Bomb is isolating these fights so well. It's going to cause a reflex to get out. A trade, but still in the favor of Spooky Spinner, but not before it gets cleaned up. It's just a 2v1 now. Only Clara left alive on the opposite side of the map. Running through is the Junior. It's going to set up a bubble here. We might be able to get a clam in. Yep, just about. It will start things to blanks. And a jump in will get some more scores in, but it might be a bit wasteful. And they missed even.
They lose the super clam. Can they keep the basket open? No more points. That is the worst push you can get right now with 1 minute left on the clock. Blanks just lost their super clams and didn't get any points.
It hurts a lot because normally in these overtime moments or when the time is so low, you're relying on that pity clam to get, like a quick 20 score when you're still keeping the opponents at bay, but they don't have that to work with anymore. They're looking to open the space with this resider, which will kill the Booyah Bomb from Zeke. Clara trying to set up on his left-hand side. It's going to get traded. The bubble's up, and that 7 clams on the Junior is going to get some more scores in. Blank C might be in business here. A splashdown gets a kill. It's traded out. Down to 50 are we, but there's still no clams left on the map. They're trying to steal with what they have, and they've got to keep fighting at the same time. It's too much to ask. Finally, the Tetra goes down, and Hugo doesn't have enough time to get any more clams. They'll make another power and opt for an overtime.
I mean, there's still an overtime thanks to that power clam, but it's going to be hard for Blanks to go in. They need 50 points. If they want to get back in this game, and here comes the overtime, they need to push forward right now. They have 2 super clams, which is going to be a good start, but they need more than that. The Booyah Bomb is slowing them down. They need to go in, and they're dying one after the other. That's going to be game for Spooky Spinner.
Beautiful defense. We've seen it time and time again, and I want to highlight Zeke there in these moments. Every time where the time is getting close to 0, he knows he just needs to get his BR bomb and just pop it and just sit there. He can just sit there and watch the opponent panic, and when the time is right, throw the BR bomb. By which point, Rusty, his counterpart, has got his BR bomb as well. They've got a nice setup which revolves around these 2 specials, and it just leaves Clara and Cheap just to keep paint up, make sure there's no flankers, and then they're fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's that ability that Spooky Spinner has once they have the lead to very much take the control of the map, to punish any attempt that the other team is making at coming back. And we saw Spooky Spinner, I mean, they had that monster push, and after that it was very much control. Very, very well played by them. I mean, Blanks did whatever they could in the end, but it was too late. They were not able, they didn't have the time to get back onto the super clam, onto the basket. Which means it's 1-0 for Spooky Spinner.
Yep, 1-0 up on Spooky Spinner, trying to force that bracket reset as early as possible, so they don't have to worry about playing too many games and think about their stamina. But they might not even be thinking about that right now. Honestly, they just seem so locked in. Honestly, they're playing so well, and Blanks, as we discussed before, they're a bit slow to respond, and that's unfortunately it's sort of causing them to make some mistakes you wouldn't expect, like picking up the clam. I don't think Blanks would normally do that. I think they normally realize that they still need that pity for sort of when they're pushing on the back foot. I think Blanks was sort of hoping for a faster game in their favor at the beginning, but that wasn't what they got, and they didn't really play with the cards that they were dealt. And I think they'll adjust that going into this next game, which is tower control on Mako Mart.
Yeah, a map mode that we know Spooky Spinner likes very much. They were incredibly dominant in their push against Distinct right there, and Spooky Spinner already trying to get on that tower, but here comes the answer by Blanks with a bubbler. They take the control. Zeke is to the side. Zeke is able to get one, and oh wait! Everybody from Blanks is dying right now. That's a delayed wipe in favor of Spooky Spinner, and Spooky Spinner are going to move to the checkpoint.
And it looks like the members of Spooky Spinner have Blank's game plan in their files as well. They seem to know exactly what's going on. They saw that the bubble was up, immediately shredded. Zeke is stalling on the bottom right side. The Booyah Bomb barely survived there. The second one will stall it even more, and they'll get the first check from Spooky Spinner. But yeah, they had that opening game plan. They shredded the bubble immediately. They cleaned up the fights in the bottom right-hand side of the map and took care of anyone else who was straggling in the mid. And they've got all the way to 52. They've broken the first checkpoint. But it looks like Blanks might finally have some mid control. Not if Zeke has anything to say about it. so close to getting that pick on the junior, but not quite. Still stalling on the right-hand side is Zeke, and Clara is trying their best to survive on the right-hand side. So many bombs in the onslaught, and the wave to set up the bubble, set up against the bubble. The blaster does take down Clara though, and the tower going down as well. Unfortunately, we'll stop that push there if Benny cannot get anything else. Yeah, and that is it for the push. Blanks can't break past that first checkpoint, Pat.
Yeah, Jason, that first checkpoint on this map is always underestimated, but if you can deny it, you're gaining a lot of time in the next push, and right now Spooky Spinner are doing exactly what they need to do, as Blanks are still fighting to get their control into mid right now. Blanks are back on the checkpoint, but they need to go through it, and all of Spooky Spinner are throwing more Booyah Bombs and stopping them.
Yeah, and the bubble gets taken down once again. A little more points on the board, but it's just not enough to break the checkpoint. Benny is going to try drop in and get a kill, not before it's taken out by Cheat and Zeke combined. Running forward even more are the members of Spooky Spinner. One gets taken down on the right. Rusty has been dealt with. They'll look to keep dragging this tower out regardless. The corner gets set up, and now they'll back away. They've gone 2 down, realizing that the pressure's on. Multi trying to keep this thing going on the left side. And Rusty's just back in the action, and 1 down again behind them as well. It's just 2, maybe 3 now. The members of Blanks are just losing all the fights that they must win.
Spooky Spinner once again pushing in, getting their control over mid, forcing Blanks to use the bubbler in defense right there. That's not a good spot. And Spooky Spinner are punishing, are going to go to the second checkpoint now, as Blanks are kind of powerless to stop them.
Yeah, and on the right-hand side, a big flank from Rusty, clearing up what she started. Zeke goes down early, but I don't think that Spooky Spinner will be too unhappy with this. Yeah, because the flank has gone again. They've got such a good grasp on where the drop-ins on the opposite sides are coming from, and the cleanups are there as well. 2 for Benny, but it's still a 2v2 situation, down to 43, not able to make it to that checkpoint. A cooler setup for Blanks. Surely they're going to take some more zone pressure and move into mid. They'll take down 1 on the left hand side. The tower is going to destroy the cooler, but everyone on Blanks has picked it up, so surely they'll keep going. Not before 1 gets taken down before they jump out, but a big bomb kill on the Heavy. That's some range pressure taken away. The bombs and the chip on the tower is going to give them the check in time, but the splashdown is going to find Zeke. Hang on a minute. It looks like slowly but surely Blanks are finding the picks and playing their cards correctly and finally getting things going as they move towards the second checkpoint.
Blanks finding their groove, finding their speed, and finding the reef slider in the enemy spawn. Multi getting a double. That's a wipeout. Blanks coming back in the game. Huge moves. Spooky Spinner not able to stop them, and right now it's Blanks that is pushing in. They have the bubbler, and Chipped is not going to deny it. That's third checkpoint, and Hugo almost getting the KO. What a move, what a push by Blanks.
A big call from the Tetra there. Notice that the flank was unwatched. The full reslider went completely unchecked. And what surprised me the most there was what Pyro did after the edit. Jumped off of the tower onto the plat of their opponents and just ran in with the chip that the reslider provided and managed to kill every remaining member of Spooky Spinner, and that's got them pretty much the winning push here. It's such a big uphill battle for Spooky Spinner to climb. They've got to get multi-kill after multi-kill and get rid of these specials. They've got to find this bubble. They've got to find this blaster who's sharking in front with the splashdown soon. It's just going to shoot at the tower. Not even a splashdown necessary, and it's over just like that.
That's how you shut down a game. Blanks coming back 1-1 against the Spooky Spinner. Beautiful. One push was all it took for them to establish themselves and absolutely take control of this game.
Absolutely. What a great retaliation from Blanks. They're not here just for the memories. They do want to get this paddling win as the Spooky Spinner, but now they look like they're here for it.
Yeah, very much. Very powerful answer by Blanks. Hey, one thing we have to note is that Blanks was on a long break as they were waiting for the lower bracket to catch up to them. I guess now they're warmed up. Now they're ready to fight, and we're going to see Blanks now that they know how to fight this Spooky Spinner, now that they're ready to do so. And now it's time to watch Blanks at their most dangerous, as we're going to go on to the Splat Zones, which will be on Wahoo World, a map I should know that was chosen by Blanks, which does not surprise me that much.
Yeah, Blanks are known for their very unconventional map picks in these tournaments, and Zones Wahoo is definitely one of them. But
Hey, no. Wait, Jason. When you have Tetras on your team, Zones Wahoo is a classic pick.
hey, listen, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. We'll see. We've got Dapple this time from Spooky Spinner, so maybe Spooky Spinner were ready for this. Maybe they've got some ideas of their own.
I mean, on this map you have very good beacon spots, and you don't want to be completely pushed away. So, I think that's a good choice on their side. But Blanks is already going to put a bubbler on the zone and take control of it overall. But the fight is not done yet. Both teams trying to get their control. Zeke is going to go down and chipped as well. Blanks take control of top mid.
Taking control of mid, but Clara is in with the Kraken, is going to deny any push into the top right hand side. Benny is looking to find Cheap D once more. A fight that just happened, and calling for help is Cheap D while Zeke's trying to fight in zone and keep things up in front. Finally turns around, but not before the splashdown goes out, and is taken out as well. A late turnaround from Zeke has turned into disaster for Spooky Spinner.
That's incredible. Blanks has control of the map right now. The beacons were not enough, and Spooky Spinner will have to mount a push together to wait a little bit. Chipped is already going to go to the side and getting a splat from behind. Huge flank right there. The Booyah Bomb will deny the control over the zone. Incredible push by Spooky Spinner.
The Kraken as well will deny that bubble from getting any more value. Comes the jump as well. It's just Benny alive on this right hand side has been noted by Zeke and his mates. Surely they'll take care of it. Yes, they will. And finally, with the penalty gone, they'll get some penalty points out. Sorry, the penalty points already gone. That's what I just said. They'll finally get some more points on the board, potentially getting a lead. They've got to deny this Reef Slider from getting out and this bubble getting set up, and they'll be just fine. Missiles coming out from Rusty's Pro, punished by the Tetra Doolies, who wasn't aware of their presence, and the bubble looks like it's going to get set up on zone. It's not going to be able to deny the lead, but we'll get the cap nonetheless.
Yeah. Cap is always important, especially with 2 down onto Spooky Spinner. Clara activating the Kraken. Clara wants to deny right there, but it's still going to be Blanks taking control of top mid. And Jason, penalty's not that big. I feel like Blanks are likely to get the lead back.
Yep, they dealt with all the beacons in the backseat as well. But it looks like there's still one behind. They take care of it, and the splashdown is going to trade out Rusty. One goes down on the right-hand side. It's just Clark to play with on this right-hand side, and the Reslider is going to get rid of them as well. Cheap D's still on the flank behind. Is going to maybe pop the cooler and go for a flank here. But not before Benny is noting it. No cooler, and it's just the Booyah Bomb to work with, and trying to desperately paint on the zone. It might be out in time to put enough paint over, but the Junior and the Edit combined are putting all the paint down. Blank said are going to surely take this game. 2-1. Blank said are looking to take this in one set only as they head to match point.
It's Blanks. They're warmed up, and I mean that's the map that they chose. That's the map they wanted to fight on. We know why now, and we saw both of these teams use it maps to its fullest extent, getting flanks and keeping fights coordinated all throughout top mid. Very beautiful moves. At the end of the day, though, Blanks was able to shut things down and get their control, which, as you say, the next game could be the last, Jason. Blanks are that close to being your paddling pool champions.
They are that close, but one game can feel like a mountain of a game. When you feel like you're just there, you just need a little bit more. It might be now on Spooky Spinner to realize that the pressure's not on them to perform so much, because Blanks are probably thinking, oh, it's just one more game. But Spooky Spinner are probably realizing that, yeah, they're down in the set, but despite that, they're still gonna keep fighting this fight, and I think they're gonna worry less about the set score and just focus on playing their game, because when they are playing their game, like in the first game we saw, they'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah. That is 2-1 for Blanks. Spooky Spinner, still a very dangerous team. Still a team that has been able to answer Blanks on every fight, on every position. And now we're going to Rainmaker on Humpback Pump track. And Blanks are doing Blanks things, but this time they're the ones with extra range because they are bringing the Hydra.
Yep, and the Sploosh-O-Matic from Hugo as opposed to the Junior.
Yeah.
They're looking to keep that similar game plan. So instead of the Tetra doing all the flanking, it's the
Yep.
Sploosh this time. So they've got the same game plans with a different, and probably, honestly, on this map, probably a more annoying weapon than the Tetra doing. The opening's going to be a bit quiet for now. Teams still just feeling each other out, trying to contest this mid. No kills found just yet, but Zeke is trying to dive. Is going to back away in the end. Both teams getting very nervous, but the bubble. Hold on a minute, before the bubble can get set up, Imperial will get taken out, but Zeke dies in the bubble as well. Clara will shred the bubble and get the kill after the fact.
Yep.
It's an even
Nice.
fight by the looks of things, but not before Cheeky will grab the rain and will get taken down by the Hydra, who was set up on the right-hand side. It's still an even matchup in this mid. No one finding some full control just yet. Not before Zeke is running through on top of mid, finding two. It's just the heavy, or the Hydra up, and a flank from the Zap, or a dive from the Zap rather. And the Hydra. I don't know what's going on anymore. It's just dives over and over. I'm mixing my words up, getting the weapons wrong, and they're still going, Pat.
Yeah, right now Spooky Spinner just got the checkpoint, Jason, and with 2 players down onto Blanks, they still have a lot of momentum. Blanks trying to mount a defense, but we know how dangerous the Spooky Spinner are when they start getting momentum, and that's exactly what they have right now. They are eyeing that street, trying to find a way in, but all of Blanks is there to stop them, to defend. Benny is called out, and Stop Multi going in is going to get a trade, and Ugo is trading with the Rainmaker, slowing things down. But I mean, these two teams still looking at each other because of a beacon. All of Spooky Spinner are going to come back and be ready to keep pushing.
Yeah, they want to contest this Rainmaker, but not before the hammer gets out and you get one as well. Zeke trying to keep this fight alive, trying to get rid of the Zap, maybe get some value off of denying the cooler. Will jump out in the end. And I think a flag from GT has managed to find one. It's got traded out in the end. I think that's what Spooky Spinner were waiting for, and the Spec Cam didn't quite catch it, but it got its trade in the end. Cooler out for Blank Civ now, though. They'll try and fight mid again, but they've got no paint pressure, and the splashdown is forced out. Rusty will lose their life, and Clara is just running the rain to the opposite side of the map to keep Blanks busy while Cheap is working on the other end. It's versus the Sploosh, and will find the victory. Cooler out for the team. Spooky Spinner will keep mid for the moment.
Yeah, and right now Spooky Spinner, they have their lead. They have a lot of paint into mid, but Blanks is coming in, getting a double, looking to get some more. That hammer is going to get the repop, and Hugo is grabbing Chipped, not able to deny the... Oh yes, able to deny the checkpoint actually, and that's going to be Blanks, still not able to tie up the score.
And Benny gets punished off the charge of the heavy that was still shooting, missed the timing. It's going to close the gap for Spooky Spinner. Defense is completely secured. Surely there's no way they can get through. Rusty looking for the Zap, trying to stop the cooler output once more. It's got a Booyah bomb ready. Once they hopefully know the solution and deny it, they're going to pop Booyah here, surely to deny any entry into the left-hand side. It will be thrown at the bubble momentarily. There it goes. The splashdown to kill Rusty, but it's too little too late. The checkpoint is broken, but the fights are in favor of Spooky Spinner. Booyah bomb denying the check, and then the cleanup from the rest of Spooky Spinner.
Hey, getting that check was crucial for Blanks. They needed that check. We are about to enter the last minute, and now Blanks know that the next push could decide it all, but right now the next push is in the hands of the Spooky Spinner. Clara to her side, simply pummeling everybody with Rainmaker shots and not really trying to push in. They're simply taking their time. It's 2 versus 2 right now. Can a Spooky Spinner play the clock enough? Oh, they lose points, but oh wait, points are being made by the Rainmaker. They got to 37 while we were not looking, Jason. And right now the Spooky Spinner have a good lead, but it's on Blanks to push in, and this time they no longer have to go through the checkpoint.
As you mentioned, them breaking that checkpoint earlier was the big moment, because if they had to waste time breaking it right now, it might have cost them the rest of the game and potentially potentially having to play another one. Zeke is trying to stall with all that they can, and they've already used the Brio Bomb. The hammer's going through. They're going to walk through with it. Is it going to get them the lead? Not quite. Zeke dives in. Can they find the kills to follow up? The splashdown and the hammer will pop the rain, and that will give them the lead. But it's a wipeout, and it's only one push left for Spooky Spinnerpat.
Last chance for Spooky Spinner. Blanks all respawning. They know what they have to do. All of Spooky Spinner are already in position. Benny diving in. Benny ending it. Benny is grand champion. Congratulations to Blanks. 3, 2, 1.
In the moment where Spooky Spinner thought they had a moment to breathe, Benny swims through the gap that they didn't check and just goes straight for it. The play that you would expect the least wins Blanks, paddling pool. They are your weekly champions of this Wednesday.
Yeah, congratulations to Blanks. They've been chasing it. They've been fighting for it. They've been struggling to get it, but they get the crown. And Spooky Spinner fought incredibly well. The only team that managed to take a game off of Blanks this whole tournament. Incredible plays right there. But yeah, that was Blank's night. Congratulations to them.
Yep. It was all written for Blanks this time around, and kudos to Spooky Spinner for putting up such an amazing run despite the setbacks earlier in the day, making it all the way to the grand finals and taking that game off of Blanks. But unfortunately for them, in the end, they just ran out of that momentum that they were running off of for so long, and they'd done so well up until that point, but Blanks were just too tall an order this time for Spooky Spinner.
Yeah, I mean, that was quite the game right there by Blanks. They were struggling. They fought so hard just to get that checkpoint. They had to go at it over and over and over, but in the end, they just dragged themselves through the finish line, got wiped out just to get the lead by a hair. But they knew that was what they needed. That's what they needed, and they got it. They got the victory thanks to that incredible play. And Blanks are your champions.
Now, an incredible tournament we've had tonight with, of course, we've said it many times, first seed not present, not even in the top 4. So many back and forth games where one team had so much control for almost all of it, and then before you know it, the other team just clapped back immediately with one big push. We saw that so many times, not just from Spooky Spinner, but from Distinct and Messi 5 earlier today as well. So many clutch plays we've seen today, and I think generally, honestly, great team play this time around. Normally we see a lot of individual talent, but I think this time teams are really starting to come together and coordinate together, and I think that's the difference this time around. I think that's what people are realizing needs to be done in order to take down these top dogs.
Yeah. Coordination does wonders. But yeah, it's time for us to say goodbye, Jason. And before we do you have something to plug?
You can follow me on my Blue Sky at js1n.bsky.social and on my Twitter at jas000n. And Pat, where can we find you?
Best way to find me is on Blue Sky. It's written on your screen right there. I'd also like to give a special shout out to our wonderful observer, Jorian. And wish you all a good evening. We'll see you on Friday for Triton Cup.